And a good morning for us here in California, but I believe it is a good evening for those of you in Europe. Welcome back to the Unite Battle Hub channel for the European qualifiers of the Elite Tour. My name is Drake Usan. I will be one of your casters for today. And of course, we have an all-star cast on the mics today. We got Pump and Caleb. Of course, Pump from across the water. We are going to be casting some of your home turf. Let's start off with you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, especially since we're going to begin with some French players, obviously. So I will not be cheering for them. Don't worry.
Yeah, clearly you have the best outfit of the three of us today, your iconic Pokemon suit. But let's go on over to Caleb. Caleb, you are also from California, just as myself. Good morning to you. How are you doing today, dude? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a couple of characters that we're going to be keeping an eye out for today. But if this is your first time seeing the Elite Tour, we got a month-long series for you. Let's just go ahead and recap what the Elite Tour is like. And of course, we have our qualifier today, but we have two qualifiers, two for NA, two for Europe, a last chance qualifiers leading up to the main event at the end of the month. Again, this is a month-long tour, $500 prize pool at the very end. So very, very, very exciting. So let's just go ahead and head on back to the meta like you were talking about, Caleb. We most recently got a patch, but more importantly, there is one character out of Moratorium, and that is Failing. So I think today, and I believe the last Unite Battle Hub event saw maybe a couple of Failings join the fray, but let's go ahead and talk about the meta. What do you guys think is a character that you have your eyes on for today? Let's start with Caleb. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, Tyranitar is a very volatile Pokemon, very similar to another all-rounder Gyarados, which is another high priority pick in the top lane category. But there are also a lot of characters, as we know, that scale very early on. Those evolutions are still very, very prominent. Of course, we saw Glaceon get a nerf in the most recent patch, but of course, a lot of the evolutions, not only do they scale early, they're very consistent in all phases of the game. Pump, let's go on with you. Most recent patch, Phalanx on the board. What's most exciting for you for today?
For me, it will be Cramorant. I want to see some
Yeah.
of our little bluebirds. I don't think we'll see that much of him, but we were talking, about before the stream about Tyranitar, about its win rate, and it has a high win rate in ranked games, but it's totally different from the competitive games since
Mm-hmm.
you have more organized teams that are able to invade the central area of the Tyranitar, get the farming, get the experience from him. So it's very more difficult to make a Tyranitar work into the
Mm-hmm.
early game in competitive play, where Cramorant has a pretty high win rate as well with the
Mm-hmm.
Dive Hurricane, combo, which works actually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe some old specialists of our Bluebird,
Mm-hmm.
they need to, put the dust off their Bluebird and try to play the
Yeah.
Cram. Will be a bit hard, but yeah. Anyway, I think the great winners of this patch are the evolutions because Blastoise and Mew were
Mm-hmm.
pretty effective. Like especially Mew, which were a really great pick. You can, compared
Mm-hmm.
to other evolutions attackers like Glaceon, like Espion. So yeah, no, these evolutions are only going to
Mm-hmm.
get better.
Yeah, the name of the game really is consistency, isn't? right? For the competitive scene, I would think Cramorant is a character that had a very interesting life history, right? For almost 2 years, the character wasn't playable for the competitive
Yep,
scene because it
that's
had
right.
a lot of issues on the back end of Pokemon Unite. There were bugs that made the character unfair in some situations. If you remember, in year one, there was some instance of Cramorant disappearing off of the map completely, being
Yep.
untargetable, but you can still output damage on the side of Cramorant. Um, but Cramorant also is kind of a weird Pokemon to draft against, right? You have two different modes of play for Cramorant. You have the standard Mage build with Surf Hurricane, but then you also have a more, I guess, assassin-oriented build with Dive and Air Slash, outputting a lot of damage at short range rather than long range. But of course, everyone knows me to be a Decidueye player, so we can let's talk a little bit about another bird. If you guys have any opinions about that, we have Decidueye. It did most recently get kind of a nerf and a buff to one of its abilities.
Mm.
It's a Leaf Storm ability, but we got a cooldown reduction on Razor Leaf. And just to give my personal opinion of Razor Leaf, if you follow me on Twitter, I'm not that big of a fan of it. It is very team reliant, but of course, the ranked environment and the competitive environment are very different. And if you have any opinions about Decidueye, we'll start off with Caleb.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I think my mic was muted in the first part, so I was just testing the audience's lip reading skills there. But the Situai, I think, for those that like the skill shots, maybe a little bit of a bummer, especially if you're pivoting more towards the Eraser Leaf variants. But I think it could be definitely good, and I'm very excited to see if you will run that or not. I mean, there's definitely some rip comps you could do, especially in desperate times, and you're behind, you just kind of need to rip that Rayquaza. So going to see if it makes a play or not here. And we've seen some decisions where I obviously have some action in that attacker role in
Mhm.
past tournaments, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more Decidueye these days too.
And all right, everybody, we are getting into our game number one, or set number one of the European qualifiers. Again, this is a single elimination tournament, everybody. And so if you unfortunately lose out on this set, you are out of today's event. Of course, there is another qualifying event next week. And of course, the last chance qualifiers, Blissey, Greninja. It's going to be an interesting
Yep.
band here. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to our casters. Pump, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Drakerate. I know at home you're wondering why is there a Greninja band already? Are there these players trolling already in the tournament? No. Traffy in Zen team is a big Greninja specialist and he is forcing the pick in any draft he can, especially in London where he played some great Greninja games at the Chaos Cup. He played the open bracket, so this is totally a target ban and a great one against a player like Traffy.
Definitely. You got to remove some of those bans from players that are just too good on them sometimes. We see an Eldegoss and a Blastoise lock in from Meta S. Team Zen probably going to pick up a top laner here. And looks like they actually picked the Cinderace up for that jungle role. So that's going to be pretty nice. And Hoopa's still on the board pretty late in the game, too. So I feel like this is quite the snag up here. But maybe going for a Comfey pick. That's going to be interesting too. And it's going to be a last second Hoopa for Hanabi.
I was talking about Traffy's Greninja, but his other main is Cinderace. He loves to play Cinderace, and we have an expression. We say Traffy often kicks in, with his play, often have aggressive positioning with its Cinderace. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays it, especially since them team hesitates to play around him with the comfy pick. Finally, they went for the Upa pick. That means less peeling for that Cinderace, but there's nothing to get into that Cinderace. Is the meta slaves are just going for a double mage poke composition, Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, Traffy seems like definitely a enjoyer of season 1 of Pokemon Unite for sure. The classic Greninja and Cinderace jungler roles. But one of my personal favorites is Cinderace as well. So very excited to see how that plays out. And then looking on the side of Meta S, there's there's different options for that jungler role, but could be a Mew, maybe a split jungle scenario, or maybe even a Chandelure going straight there. What do you think?
I think it's going to be the Chandler going straight into the jungle. Chandler, which will be very useful against that slow bro because that attacker is known for destroying other defenders. But and you have, I was going to say, but there is not that much defender in the Zen team. There is the Dodrio, and I think Chandler works very well with Dodrio. You can slow him, and if you put a good imprison, it could totally destroy the game of Dodrio.
Definitely. Well, Dojo is going to be running all around the map too. So, and I think these players as well, we're going to kick it off into the first game. Meta S versus Team Zen team. Let's see how it goes. This is a single elimination, best of 3 as well. So a lot on the line for every single game.
Yep, you do not have the right to make mistakes in this format. Single elimination bracket. High tension already in this first game. And you were right, Caleb. I mean, I were wrong. You were right because it is the Mew that is going into the central area for Meta Slaves.
Yeah, Mew is going to head in there early as we see some caps coming in on the top side for this Dojo. Dojo goes down right away to the Squirtle. Nayad is going to take up that KO, and then Hanabi running back into this 1v3 here. Looks like that early Mew jungle is going to go through. Litwick, I think, grabbed the bottom blue buff as well. So maybe a slight split jungle just to get some early pressure on this top lane. Dojo is back in lane, but is fighting now into a 2v3. Looks like Score Bunny is starting to rotate top for this first set of bird spawns.
Scorbunny that got some points in, so it's experience he needs in these early stages of the game. For the Litwick, I think we'll get the other next resources as the Rabbit goes ready for the first Altaria of this game.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of farm is being secured. Dojo goes down yet again. Mew with the Solar Beam combo as well, doing some decent poke damage. Raboot, though, starting to kick away at this Eldegoss, maybe getting a little bit caught up, but no, gets out of safety. Hanabi providing some stun there to peel for that Raboot, and here we go. Dojo is back in action. Struggling a little bit this game, getting taken out twice already. We're putting on some solid pressure and trying to get that Squirtle evolved. It goes to War Turtle right now. Bot lane just trading some points.
Yeah, but that Dodrio is facing Snow. Snow, the Mew player, which competed in the regionals finals in EU with Team Conwasser. He's a young Swiss player. We know him for months. He played some competition with the Switzerland team at Unite European Cup, which were broadcasted on Unite Battle Hub channel. And so, you know, if you watch Unite Battle Hub, you know Snow for months and months, but he really popped off in last regionals, doing insane plays with its Mew. So it's a great threat Team Zen needs to deal with.
Definitely, and Mew is one of those very high skill Pokemon as well. On the right hand, so it could be absolutely deadly in almost every single situation. So we're going to see how that Mew is going to continue to build up the levels and snowball. Level 7 already on that Mew, highest level on the side of Meta S. Meanwhile, Cinderace is matching that level 7. And here goes some Blaze Kick, forcing an eject from the Lampent. And here we have the red side already just burning through the birds on the bottom. With the mobility of Hoopatu, they can send Dojo down anytime they want, but it looks like Dojo is going to stay up on top side. Probably just get some of the score caps on here. Cinderace taking out the Trevenant. Actually, it was the Hoopa that took it out too, and they look like they are really well positioned, Team Zen team, for this Regice. They're going to try to secure a Blaze Kick coming through, but the Soul Beam going up from Mew, it takes out the Cinderace actually, and Chandler actually picking up the Regice as well. So everything going on to the way side of Meta S. Chandler does go down to the Leafeon, but the action does not stop. Trevenant with a big wood hammer to secure the knockout on Sylveon.
The issue with Trafi playing Blaze Kick is that he doesn't have any attack to secure the Regice. It's opposite from the Meta Slaves Pokemon, since Mew and Chandler really coordinated themselves to get the Regice. Zen team did the work, taking down the Trevenant, but that was not enough against the Mew. You cannot burst a Regice like this. The Mew and the Chandler, it was, you know, written. They were going to steal that Regice. I did not have any doubt about it. And now all eyes on the Regieleki, but I think Zen team wants to put pressure on the first goal zone in the bottom area. They will try to get the Regieleki with the Sylveon. It's not enough.
not enough. Everything going to the side of Meta S right now. Mew takes out Sylveon as well. You see Trevenant trying to hold down 1v2 against Aslan and Traffy here, trying to push some advantage somewhere on the map. Reggie, like he does go into the base. You see the surf come out from Naya, and here comes a big 40 dunk and a 30 dunk onto the side of Meta S. 125 to 47 so far. You see points trying to even up here on Traffy and Aslan as well. So keeping the score kind of close still. But yeah, they need to start picking up some knockouts soon. They already lost their top goal zone, and you see the defense coming in from Meta S already back on this bottom side.
Yeah, the Trevenant, he gained so much time, like he held like a full minute against Traffy and then against Aslan. He gained so much time, so his team was able to get a 4v3 in the top area on that Regieleki that allows Metaslaves to get the objective, to get the first goal zone, and get a small point advantage, which is not really big actually. I thought they were miles ahead. It's not the case, and but they might get ahead with this catch, and with the Regi still following. No slow bro for Zen team.
You know, Meta S really wants this Reggie steal, but Team Zen's not going to go down without a fight. Hoopa Unite comes through. Trevenant goes down to the Sylveon, and they are getting much better position for Team Zen for this Reggie steal. It is going to be reset, though, so going to have to burn through this health yet again. You see really great position for Aslan, providing some frontline and zoning for the team of Team Zen. But in comes Meta S. They are coming close. Looks like Traffy is going to secure that Reggie steal as well. And Sylveon does go down, though, to the side of Meta S. Mystical Mirage comes through. Traffy is caught by themselves 5 vs 1 and does finally go down. Woodhammer is coming through as well and taking down some of the side of Team Zen. The pressure from Meta S does not stop. Mew with another knockout, taking out Hanabi with another solar beam, and pressure is continuing to roll in from the side of Meta S. They do lose the objective Reggie steal, but they're up in levels and in points.
I'm so impressed by Krinsky's Trevenant's work in this team fight, because he's a support player, a great one, playing for Vamos, top 4 in the... You see, oh wow, what a beam from Snow while I was talking about Krinsky, and now Metaslav is trying to accelerate and put pressure on Traffy. Traffy forced to go back into his first goal zone nearly. What an aggression from Metaslavs.
And here we see them just completely taking over Team Zen's jungle as well. They want the position, they want the farm, they want everything on the map. They're going to go for the Regieleki right now as well. And they have so much damage coming through. This is one of those games where it's a little bit tough for Cinderace to even go close to objective. And they're going to quickly burn down that Regieleki, going towards that tier 2 gold zone. Team Zen trying to find some advantage yet again here. And let's see if Traffy can take out this Trevenant as well. It is coming through, but Eldegoss is here for some reinforcements and just not being able to get enough points here on the map just quite yet. They're doing some poke damage though, and Cinderace is going to start autoing down. Meanwhile, Hoopa Unite does come through to try to help prevent this Regieleki from coming in, but kind of a late Hoopa Unite here in the last 30 seconds before the overtime period.
Yep, this is a really late Unite move. They wanted to stay behind the 100 points lead of Metaslave. They wanted to defend, but yeah, it's very expensive. You can use Unite moves at 230, but it's only worth it if you get like 2 or 3 kills or you get major objectives. Here you just defend your goal zone, it's not enough, and it's a big resources you're going to lack for the rest of this game. While they are behind Zen team, they need to find a solution. The Mew is level 13, it's a big power spike, it's going to put a lot of pressure like now on the Dodrio, which cannot do anything.
Dojo gets getting completely burned down there from the Chandelier. Just went from 100 HP to 0 in a split second. Hoopa trying to build up that Unite back up, closing in on it, but not quite there. You can see teammates trying to feed some of that neutral Pokemon to that Hoopa to try to get that Unbound form ready to go. Meanwhile, positioning is looking fantastic for Meta as they don't really need the Rayquaza here, so they're just trying to get lure the opponents in here. Maybe tap on the Rayquaza a little bit, just about 60% health. Here we see a top cap here, over dunk on the top side, and it's going to be 98 points going in here. Now we see the Vantage going back over
Oh.
to Team Zen. Blastoise goes down. Hoop Unbound form comes through now, finally back up here. And here we see Meta S starting to chew through this. Rayquaza's health is quite low, but in the meantime, Flame Bison Kick is going to go down. Not enough to set up and take out the Rayquaza. Is going to be healed back up here on the middle side. And Meta S going to push the advantage forward down inside Team Zen. And this is looking like a quick game for Meta S. A victory here for them. Charking going to score 100 points on this bot side here too. No one here to defend yet. You see Aslan, the Slowbro, trying to make a last-ditch effort with 5 points.
No.
Matt's not going to really add up there.
Poor Arslan, he cannot do anything in this situation. Meta Slaves, as you said, Kalem is going to win this first game, and this team fight will not change anything to this first game. Meta Slaves, they did not panic, and they did well because they left their first goal zone for free, if I might say it like this. But it's not enough. I mean, 100 points from... No, it's too late, even if AB scores his 100 points. And that's the defense as well. So, no points for the Upa. What a game for Meta Slaves. What a late game. As I said, they did not panic. They gave their first goal zone in the top path. But meanwhile, Team Zen was scoring, was putting that Slowbro Unite move onto the Blastoise. You had Chariking and Snow staying focused, getting their hands into Zen team carries. The Dodrio couldn't do anything in this late game, and while Zen team was scoring, Meta Slaves was dealing with the other threats from the Zen team, and you know, the Blastoise got KO'd, the points were scored, but Zen team were only like 2 people still on the map trying to steal Rayquaza, and Meta Slaves in a 4v2 situation just locked the game and won a convincing first game.
Yeah, and huge 90k damage from Snow as well. Snow did not disappoint in this first game of the series against Team Zen. Charking as well with some damage, and Nayat doing some extra damage. I mean, a lot of damage actually from the side of Meta S all around. I think the whole team played cohesively really well, right? A lot of poke damage as well. Great front line from Nayat on that Blastoise, and just a very big team effort from them to secure this first victory. Looks like Team Zen's going to have to win this next one, though, to force a game number 3 in the single elimination formats. Let's see if they have what it takes.
If they find a solution, because what were interesting in these stats were the damage taken by the Chandler and the Mew. Only 15k for the Chandler, 25k for the Mew, it's a bit more, but only 15k for the Chandler. When you have Dodrio on the other side, that means that Dodrio was never able to touch the Chandler, to put pressure on him, even on the Mew. So yeah, doesn't work out. And when you have a speedster that cannot do what is designed to do, that means, you know, prevents the attacker players to just put the damage into the team. That means something went wrong in the drafting phase, and then team needs to find a solution for this.
Yeah, it was a tough game for Dodrio all the way through. I mean, even as a Dojo, they just kept getting taken down on that top side. And like you said, too, Chandler was just able to burn down that bird pretty quickly, even in that final Rayquaza fight as well. So really well played from Meta S. I think they got pretty much every objective outside of one Registeel, and even the one Registeel they didn't get, they were able to take out a lot of members of Team Zen in that process. So we're going to have to see how they make adjustments for game number 2. Maybe Greninja will sneak through. We'll see if Meta S feels confident they know how to deal with Traffy's, regardless of what Traffy's running in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, if we go with Greninja, you have solutions to play against the Greninja. Even Chandler is a nice one because you have the Unite move. If the Greninja wants to unite you, you can Unite move, blind the Greninja, dodge his buffs, dodge everything. And you can as well put the Imprison to prevent him to use Surf to finish you. So you have the solutions, whether it is with Chandler and other Pokemon, but Traffy is a real specialist of Greninja and he knows his matchups, so you need to be careful. Maybe keep the ban on the Greninja, but the questions are more on the Zen team. What can they do better? We have Snow on the Meta Slaves team. As I said, he played the regional EU final with Conwasser. He did a really great tournament. He was one of the MVPs for me. Klaus from the Conwasser said on Twitter that for him, Snow was the MVP of his team during these regionals. And Klaus is a great player, many world participation. So yeah, you need to deal with Snow and his Mew, actually. So there's a solution here. there's no really counterplay to Mew. There's not really counter pick. Then that's the main strength of Mew. So I think you need to ban Mew for Zen team.
Yeah, I think that would be a good respect ban as well. I mean, Mew got some nerfs in this recent patch, but it's still looking very good and very strong
Yeah,
and competitive.
Snow
as
proves
well.
it.
Yeah, definitely. And so I'm curious to see how Team Zen's going to adapt here. Maybe that jungler role, they can switch it up as well too. It looked like it was just a tough games for any Cinderace player to play into that composition as well, especially Blaziken as well. Just going in there, just kind of getting dove by the rest of the team or poked out from the Mew and the Chandelure. So we're going to the ban phase as game number 2 is about to kick off. It looks like Meta S is going to ban off Trevenant to start things off. A respective ban of the grass side Pokemon is going to be a Leafeon on the side of Team Zen. That's going to be banned out as well. Leafeon, very strong.
Yeah, the overlay swapped, by the way. Zen team is in purple
sorry,
and
my
Meta
bad.
Slaves.
They swapped.
Yeah, they swapped. Yeah, I got tricked as well at first. I got tricked as well. Don't worry. But yeah, Meta Slaves. This time they are banning their own Cinderace. It's Traffy. Even Traffy is banning Cinderace, and the Greninja is banned as well. So why are they banning Cinderace? I don't know. Maybe they are just saying, okay, we understood. We are not going to play Cinderace this time. And first pick Mew would be good. We said you need to ban Mew or pick it to really counter it, but no, Meta Slaves want to take that Umbreon, which is open, and as I said, the big winners in this patch are the evolutions. Umbreon is one of them.
Yeah, Umbreon, I don't think any changes happened in this specific patch, but the recent the patch before this too, getting that wish buff, it was strong before, but it's also even stronger now in many respects. Looks like Meta S is going to pick up the Mew and Blastoise yet again. And like you said, Snow was pretty strong on that Mew. Let's see if Team Zen know how to handle in game number 2. Maybe just feeling confident that we're just going to play our picks, let you have the Mew and see what happens. Maybe, yeah, I don't know about the Cinderace ban, but we're going to see Sylveon going picked up yet again for Team Zen, and the Mamoswine as well for the side of Team Zen. Probably going to go for Aslan on that one, on that defender pick.
Yeah, defender pick. Aslan will go on the bottom path with his Mamoswine, one of his favorite defender pick, and I think the defender players, they all love Mamoswine. Like every tank player, every defender player I know, they all love Mamoswine, Aslan included, so he will play one of his group 4 picks against a Blaziken on the top area. Solid aggressive dive comp maybe for Meta Slaves, but yeah, with the Blaziken and the Blissey followed by a Blastoise, most likely to be a soft one, and Mew, which is a very mobile attacker player. You have an aggressive dive in the side of Meta Slaves, you need to play reception from them team, and you have quite a difficult composition to play against the Meta Slaves one. Dragapult and Lucario to finish the draft, Caleb.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one as well, too. Dragapult probably going to go into that jungle role for this one. Pretty clear option for Team Zen. Meanwhile, we have that final pick coming out from Meta S. They're going to lock in the Dragonite here for their final jungler pick as well. So, going to be interesting to see how that Dragonite goes. A great secure potential with that Hyper Beam as well in these team fights. And just a lot of damage as well. So we're going to see Dragon versus Dragon, Dragapult versus Dragonite. Dragapult could be pretty scary in the right situations, especially if you get those stacks through, but definitely a little bit on the squishier end too. Seems like that's what teams like though in their jungle role. So let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, let's see. But as you said, Dragapult is kind of the squishiest of the squishy, you know? So, and you are playing against a very aggressive composition on the Meta Slave side of thing. You have a Blaziken, you have a Blissey, you have a Dragonite. These are Pokemons that can easily go into your back lane, go into the Dragapult, put pressure on him, try to get the KO, and the Mew is able to follow very easily. So, yeah, to peel him, you have Mamoswine, which is not the best defender pick to do so. You still have Umbreon as a support, which is really good, especially against Dragonite and Blaziken, with the move Snarl, I think. Abby, she's going to play Snarl, I hope so, I think, in this game. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm not really confident. Hopefully, you have the Lucario to secure the objectives, because against Mew, against Blaziken, and against Dragonite, securing an objective will be a real fight for Team Zen.
Yeah, and that was a last pick Dragonite as well too. So I like the play from Meta S saying, "All right, we see your Lucario pick, but we're gonna try to out secure you with the Hyper Dragonite as a counter pick for those objectives." So we're gonna see how it goes. Looks like a little split jungle rotation for Meta S actually. So unclear who's the jungler at this point in the game, but typically it's going to be that seeing that they actually are going to leave the two Balthus in the back. Uncleared on the jungle side. Lucario going down quite quickly here to the Chansey, and here again the aggression comes out from Meta's S on this top lane yet again, and we see 3 on this top side, just putting all their advantages as much as they can in this top path here. Lucario is back with Dragon Pole here. Traffy is here trying to help as well, seeing what they could do, and getting some decent poke damage before the first set of birds come up, and let's see how it's going to go this time around.
Sharing the central area resources in early game is quite popular at the moment, and it worked for Meta Slaves, allowing Nia to score, to get some stacks, evolve, and Snow, as you can see, is still level 5 for these first Altarias, and will be able to defend his gold zone with the Citrus Berry. Here, Aslan still being very aggressive, but they won't get any chaos. Maybe some points for Team Zen though. That is a good thing to get because, yeah, the path early aggression from Meta Slaves really put them down in the top area. As you can see, Nihat has some level advantage, but you need to respect Lucario level 5 power spike.
Yeah, we're still trying to get Hanabi and this Umbreon evolved so far. Right now, just a level 3 Eevee trying to do what they can, and now we see a little invade as well from the side of Meta S doing what they can, but maybe getting called out. Did they get too greedy? Here's the question. Surfer is going to come through, doesn't hit anyone here as well. Lucario comes in, and a lot of the birds going to be secured. Sylveon takes out the Dragonair. Snow on the Dragonair this time, not the Mew actually, which is kind of interesting, especially after a fantastic game on Mew from game number 1. But here we go. They are collapsing on this War Turtle. 4 on the bottom side of Team Zen, already scoring some points onto that bottom goal zone. I think only 8 points remaining already, so really pushing a lot of aggression there too. Nihat coming down as well as a Blaziken now, ready for this engage. Second set of birds are going to come through. It looks like a lot of the members of Meta S already positioned to the bottom side.
Yeah, I'm surprised about the players, as you said, because Nihat loves Mew, Snow loves Blaziken and Mew, but both of them are not playing either Mew as Blaziken. Charking is as well pretty confident on Blaziken, so yeah, I don't know why these players are playing these picks. Kind of offering here in this mix of Meta Slaves today. Zen team trying to put some points in the first goal zone. Look at the Hyper Beam, put some great damages from Snow. Enough to defend? I think so.
Yeah, definitely. Dragonite actually taking down the Umbreon as well. Let's see if Leon can take out the Dragonite. Not quite. And meanwhile, we have Meta S securing the Regirock as well. Now pushing the advantage on this bottom side while successfully defending the top goal zone as well for the side of Team Meta S. Lucario is going to score 5 points there. And you see this lone Aslan Pilot Swan trying to do what they can to defend, but defending by themselves is going to be a hard task. Does go down to the Nihat's Blaziken. Meanwhile, big secure coming through, but is going to be secured by Team Zen and Leon's Lucario instead. Hyper Beam just a little too early there, and now we see a 9-point overdunk for the side of Team Zen. Getting a little of advantage this game too, not as one-sided in this early game. Mew is going to go down to the Sylveon. Dragonite unites in as well, going on the chase here too. Lucario Unite comes through, close combat coming out as well, but the Dragon Pole is going to be going down to the Blaziken. Lucario goes down to the Blissey. Sylveon trying to fight their way around it, back against the wall, and now we see Meta S back on the offense here. 4 members on the side, 5 members now here on this bottom goal zone, trying to break it as well with some points. Looks like Blissey's going to get more points in here. The action does not stop though. Treepy does go down to the Blaziken, and then Umbreon actually takes down the Blaziken as well. Pilot Sword goes down as well, still trying to evolve. Mew is going to secure that knockout. Another Soul Beam coming through. Hanabi is going to run back to their side of the jungle, and we are setting up for another Reggie on the spot side.
The issue here is that Zen team tried to get themselves involved in a long team fight, but there was no Dragapult, no Mamoswine, only Dracloak, only Piloswine that are really weak Pokemon in this state of the game, and you cannot really fight at this point. So they tried. Obviously, Metaslave got the advantage, got the points in, got the space on the Registeel. I don't think Aslan will be able to steal the Registeel, even though... No, he tried with its Unite move, but it's not enough. Yeah, Aslan shouldn't have even tried for me. He should help his team in the top path. He gained some time, he's gaining some time, but look at the top area with Zen team, you know, just waiting for the Regeliki to pop, to spawn. He's not here yet, and Metaslaves accelerating their games, scoring some points, and Zen team, they're like, oh no, we didn't defend.
Yeah, also definitely be a team player there too. A lot of times one versus the entire team on the side of Meta S. Here we see teams that trying to push their advantage topside somewhere, but a huge secure from Snow. Hyper Beam at the last second is going to get Regieleki this time around, and pretty content on just letting it walk towards their top tier goal zone while they get the jungle farm here. Leon trying to secure some of this middle objective as well. So I think both teams are trying to get some of that farm cleared off the map and get the levels they need as we are approaching about that 3-minute mark, almost 1 minute away from that overtime. I think everyone's just content on just getting the necessary levels they need. Blaziken taking into level 13, first level 13 player on the side of, on both sides actually. Definitely going to be good for that team fight. Everyone else kind of seems like everyone's struggling for some levels. Snow only level 11 on that Dragonite. So definitely going to look for that level 13 potentially. As we see some action here, Blissey getting caught out, but there's some poke damage back and forth in this bottom L bush for the side of both teams here. Dragapult pretty aggressive front positioning. It looks like Team Zen going to go for a final push here on this tier 1 goal zone, but maybe just poking out some damage here. And here we see Leon Lucario jumping in here, but is going to go down to that Blaziken. Dragonite is going to push that Sylveon pretty far back. Is very deep in the red here. Here we go. Dragonite Unite comes down, and Snow is going to secure the knockout on the Sylveon, and the aggression going to pile through. Mamoswine goes down before the Hype Beam even comes out. Dragapult, Treatment Destroy, maybe going to take out the Dragonite, but no, Dragonite is going to get a lot of healing off, and Dragapult goes down as well. 3 knockouts for the side of Blaziken and Meta S as we're setting up for this final fight here in the overtime. Snow wants some of the Indeedee as well, and they are going to get that level 13. Can they go for this red Ice? I think they have the position for it, and they have the damage to take it out before this Rayquaza.
Yeah, they will get it without any issue. And the only positive point for the team is that Snow used this eject button quite a bit late, but apart from this, it's a complete catastrophe because yeah, you gave so much experience to that Blaziken, which is going to pay off in this last team fight for Metaslaves, I fear, for the team.
And Lucario does go down on the side of Team Zen as the aggression is coming through. The Bliss System was on Blaziken, but it has expired now, and the Blaziken actually goes down to the Umbreon. Hydro Typhoon comes out, and here comes a huge surf, but the Secure is going to go yet again to Meta S and the Mew, and everything going on to the side of Meta S throughout this game. You can see Snow going and doing it all for the team here as well in the last few seconds. 3 knockouts straight. Mew or Dragonite, Snow can put in the work and the damage, and so can Meta S as they are just running down some points into this middle side. A little over a minute left. The points are still fairly even, so maybe a late push can be possible for Team Zen, but they need to get some knockouts. They need to break some shields to make that comeback happen. So far, the team point discrepancy is quite big. Another 6 points onto the side of Meta S here. And here, a full pocket of points on the side of Snow. 100 points going through. 600 points, almost 300 point differential at this point in time, too. This is looking kind of like an impossible comeback at this point.
Yep, as the best defense is attack, and Metaslaves are still putting pressure on that third goal zone. They want to put more points in than team. They are, you know, they need to defend now, even though they want to score some points. And Metaslaves will win this best of 3. I guess they are even, you know, getting that KO on the Sylveon. Great soft eject button by Krinsky. Metaslaves still putting some pressure. And as we said in the draft, they had Blaziken, Mew, Dragonite. It was going to be really hard to out-secure them for the objectives, especially the Rayquaza. And Zen team, they gave the space around the Rayquaza to Metaslaves. Yes, they got the KO into the Blaziken, but it was only a decoy. And Metaslaves, they just flip the Rayquaza. They had the draft to do so. They had the draft to secure it. They had the space. They had everything. So this is a great call. They got the Rayquaza. Zen team they arrived too late into the objective to be able to get the hopes to steal it. And Leon was as well KO'd at the time, so wasn't able to use its Unite move or P-Punch to secure the Rayquaza. That means Metaslaves, they showed a pretty dominant late game. Everything was in control for them. That's the feeling I had about this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just like last game too, really just strong performance throughout by all members of their team. Not really getting caught out at all in a lot of scenarios. Huge, almost 100k damage from Snow there. Probably a little damage padding in the very few seconds of that game.
Yeah.
A lot of damage from the side of those top 3 Pokemon on the side of Meta S. And again, just a really great team effort as well. Just a lot of damage from all sorts. We got the triple KO from Naya as well in the Blaziken at times, and Char King with that Mew securing the Rayquaza as well. Looks like all their players can play, the carry roles interchangeably. So going to have to see how they play out the rest of the tournament. But they are going to move forward in this single elimination tournament as they inch closer to that finals and that qualification for the Elite Tour finals.
Yep, Metaslaves into the semi-final, and only top 1 from the qualifier qualifies for the main events. 2 qualifiers in EU, 2 qualifiers in NA. That means 4 teams qualified, and then a last chance qualifier mixing both EU and NA. 4 more teams to get 8 teams into the main event on May 25. We are not quite yet on May 25. We have still that first qualifier to cast Caleb. Metaslave into the semi-final. It is over for Team Zen from France and our friend Young Leon that subbed for the team from Germany today. Thanks to him. We are going in a few minutes to broadcast the next game, which will be I don't have I thought I had the information about next game, but the games are still happening, so we'll wait. But we will broadcast one of the semi-final next, Caleb.
Yep. Well, stay tuned. We have more action. We're going to take a quick break as we take a look at some of these highlights. Welcome back, everyone, to the Unite a Battle Hub Elite Tour. We are here with the first European qualifier. I'm joined by Pump and Draku, and we had an amazing first set of games with a Meta S and against Team Zen in that first round. And we have Meta S back again against Cinco Golemo going into this one. Draku, you're watching behind the scenes for that first series. What did you think?
Dragonite is still a very powerful Pokemon. Year one was all about Dragonite and Secure. Well, there are some new players in that securing department, namely Blaziken, but Meta S had quite literally all of them, right? I believe they had a Lucario on the other side, but they had Dragonite and they also had Blaziken, two of the best securing Pokemon in the game. It's still a very powerful composition, going for those steals and those objective secures, and well, it allows you to score all the points in the game at the last 2 minutes of the game. So yep.
Definitely. And it looks like we're getting into the draft phase already for Cinco Golemo versus Meta S. Pump, anything you're excited to see or expecting to see in this matchup in the semifinals?
First, we have another French team, so I will not say I love the French teams. Once again, everyone understood it. No, I know Volto tried to revive Tsarina lately, so maybe this is something we should look after.
Oh, I do love a good Serena pick there too. That would definitely be a throwback as well, just to the Dragonite days. But I'm gonna leave it off to you two to cover the draft. But looks like it's gonna be a good match between Meta S and Cinco Golemo.
All right, Pump. I'm excited to cast with you, good sir.
Yeah, me
I think this is
too.
going to be our first cast ever
Yeah.
together. So
Yeah.
glad
The
you
guy
were
from
able to
Twitter.
join us for Ah,
You're the
guy
guy
from
from
Twitter.
X. Yeah, you always put out such great tweets. Just check his X profile in the chat. You will not be disappointed.
It's honestly just me complaining about how Razor Leaf Decidueye sucks. Honestly,
That's what I said. That's what I
That's
said.
all my
Interesting
content
tweets.
recently.
That's what I say. Follow him. Interesting tweets. Interesting picks as well. Mew. You said Dragonite was still very powerful. Mew, despite the nerfs from last patch, still a Pokemon the players love. Greg loves it. Mew is going to secure it because he knows Snow is against him, and Snow in regionals and today in this Unite Battle Up tournament shows is a great Mew player. And we also have that Mr. Mai, but maybe too early picked.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams, I would say pretty conventional on either side. I would say that Mr. Mime pick is the most interesting, considering there are 3 defenders banned out for this game. Crustle is going to be the defender of choice for Meta S, but let's see what Cinco Golemo decides to go here. There still are a couple more defenders to choose from. They're definitely going to need one, but let's see. If they pick this Phalanx, I mean, Phalanx is a very bulky Pokemon, so they could be almost acting as a defender, I would say. They're still outputting a ton of damage. It doesn't have that formal defender-like Pokemon. And take a look at this, Bob. We finally see our first Phalanx game of the day.
Let's go! And it's going to be in the hands of Volto, which is one of my favorite player in the European scene. So I can't wait to see what he can do. The Mr. Mime, I said early pick, but he's kinda okay against Crustle and Sylveon because he can stun and push away the Sylveon hyper voice. He could, push away people trying to get the KO into the players trapped into that Crustle walls. So, yeah, Mr. Mime kinda decent, aggressive comp from Cinco Golemo, but you have that Venusaur last picked, so you know what it means. It's going to be a Giga Drain Venusaur. That means, again, Phalanx, big regeneration on the way, and I didn't see any anti-heal item, no Castle Bang, no Curse Incense. That's pretty surprising for me, especially if you are facing Venusaur Giga Drain.
Yeah, Phalanx is the newest character joining Pokemon Unite, and I would say just like some of the other all-rounders, it is a very volatile one. Volatile in the sense that it could be very good, but also very bad at the same time. If you're not familiar with how Phalanx works, there is the Brass that is the lead Phalanx at the front, and then there are 5 troopers behind them. right? And so each of the individual failings, if you damage them, they act as wild Pokemon. They take a portion of the damage to the brass. So even if you are attacking the troopers behind them, you're still doing a small amount of damage to the entire unit of failings. So characters like Venusaur can really benefit off of using that Giga Drain on each of those troopers to get the most amount of healing applied to your character.
And as you said, it counts as wild Pokemon, so Pokemon like Lucario, Extreme Speed also get the resets into the troopers, and there's lots of interactions like this in the game, so this is one of the first reasons why Phalanx isn't good in every game, but the other reason is that it's a Pokemon which has a very low mobility and low range, so it struggles a lot with Pokemon with lots of range, like the most of the attacker player in the game. Here we have only one attacker player and with not a big range, the Venusaur Giga Drain, but as we said, big regeneration of HP coming from that Venusaur, and no cursing Bengal, no curse incense items which will reduce the amount of healing that Venusaur is going to get. So we'll see.
Wow, we see a water Urshifu joining the fray, evolving there right before those birds spawn on the field. K opener going over to the side of Cinco Galemo. It's a very high value KO as well, as that is the jungler for Meta S going down. Let's see what Water Urshifu can do. A lot of content creators put this character at the very end of tier lists, especially in the ranked environment. But again, a ranked environment is not the same as a competitive environment. And one of the things about Water Urshifu is that they can build a lot of shields, get a lot of self-regen, and live on a lane for a long period of time, as we're seeing here in the top half.
Yes, and he has the Upa trick to support him, so I want to see how they synergize with the trick, because where he's going to play the portal with the trick. So, like, I mean, not the big portal, you know, just only the Phantom Force, but the Urshifu will be able to take the Phantom Force from the Upa with the trick combos. So it's going to be interesting. Allows the Urshifu to go very deep and then go back safely. And speaking about going very deep, he's already putting pressure on that Ivysaur.
Yeah, look at this. 4 team members for Meta S here to stop the jungle invading Water Urshifu. As they do go down, it looks like the Mew was able to take a KO in the bottom lane, but also that blue buff as well, already level 7 on their Mew, well on their way to getting that Unite move. Mystical Mirage is now available. First Unite move, go to Cinco Galemo.
Yep, and Cinco Galemo can also control of the top path, where with its Upa she's going to get to the bottom path. We want to play that bottom Regice, not putting too much pressure on the top path. Going back to N playing the Urshifu. I know N loves to play off-meta picks like Gengar. We played a lot of Gengar, even in PUCS a few months ago. So we'll see. But it's not even level 8. It will be good with that NDD. But only level 8, it's not that great. But we have the Mew. The space around the Registeel. It's not going to be contested by Meta Slaves.
Yeah, Mew's still a very consistent option. Looks like the first objective, that Registeel going over to Cinco Galemo. Now they're going to turn their attention to this Tier 1 goal zone, trying to do their best to defend the goal zone is Meta S. Here comes the Venusaur down into the bottom path with that, once again, Petal, Dance, and Giga Drain ability. Of course, that Phalanx is in the top path, so you can't get that advantage of healing off of all of the troopers, but it looks like their defense just as good as their offense. 76 to 78th, there's still a Alecki on the field, and it looks like both all-rounders, just like most compositions, hanging out in the top path, absorbing all of that experience on other parts of the field.
Yeah, Meta Slaves having a great mid-game comp, and chose here with the Mimikyu. Wow, getting that Shadow Sneak, the second one as well, but it's too dangerous. The Upa trick, get the Mew into a safe space. They are still pushing Meta Slaves. They want to put pressure, especially into that Venusaur, which is getting a lot of the HPs, a lot of damages.
Yeah, one of the interactions that we haven't talked about is Mimikyu into a Phalanx. So when you think about the Shadow Claw ability, you get cooldown reduction every time you use the Shadow Claw, and then all of the auto attacks that come after the Shadow Claw. And again, that applies on both wild Pokemon and enemy Pokemon. So you can get those resets, those cooldown reduction resets on the Phalanx Brass and all of the troopers. But here we go. Huge engagement in the top path. Looks like Ware is going to bring the team up to the top lane. Mr. Mime is still hanging out down in that bottom path. Don't know if they're going to get a whole lot of value for this. I think they wanted to push the tempo just a little bit, but unfortunately with the Phalanx just coming back online, not enough time for them to go through that Hoopa portal. Meta S is going to take a K on that Hoopa, and now Cinco Galemo kind of fragmented with their team, with Mr. Mime still hanging out in the bottom path, now having to defend against two of Meta S.
Yep, and they are pushing hard. Meta S in the first gold zone on the bottom path, but still struggling to get some points in, only 100 points despite their huge lead into the beginning of this game. The Mimikyu trying to stay alive. Nice Shadow Sneak. Will be able to escape while his team is putting pressure on the top path with Regieleki, and also the response is coming from Cinco Galemo. We are scoring and they are ahead. Meta Slaves had a strong early game, strong start of the mid game, but they're still behind, and they cannot transform their lead into something concrete. Meta Slaves maybe will be that Regirock.
Meta Slaves pivoting on the Regirock in the bottom path. Verdant Anger is not going to find anyone. They still have really good secure on their side. But Mr. Mime, no clowning around here for Cinco Galemo, as they're able to take the objective away from Meta Slaves, who had really dominant position around this bottom objective. It's going to cause the rest of Meta Slaves to go scurrying on back to the right side of the map. Let's go ahead and take a look at the field state now. About quarter way left in the game, 198 to 109. This is a 89-point game between the two teams. Cinco Galemo, after that secure, has now taken the lead, both in experience, as we can see 2 or 3 level 12s on the side of Cinco Galemo, and only 1 level 12 on Meta S. So still waiting on a couple of their characters to get to their final benchmarks, which way they do get at level 12 and level 13, especially for that Venusaur.
One of the issues for me on Meta Slaves is that the Mimikyu is playing alone most of the time. Yeah, he took the matchup against the Phalanx in that top path, so the 1v1 was okay at the time, but every time he tries to get to play, there's not that much follow-up coming. So we know Cinco Galemo, they know each other for months. Meta Slaves is more a mix made for that unit battle up, so not the same synergies maybe between the players. But if they manage to follow the engage from the Mimikyu like here and walk around that Venusaur, which is going to be really hard to take down without any anti-heal item and against Phalanx, they might be able to turn the odds.
We kind of mentioned this earlier, but this Trick Hoopa with the Phantom Force, it pairs really well with Urshifu and the Phalanx, right? They really want to be up in the front lines, but whenever they are tricked and then pulled back with that Phantom Force, they get 30% healing on top of their max HP, right? And so when they're up in the front lines, they can really easily be pulled out, and it looks like Cinco Galemo is going to take 2 Ks right as we get into the double stretch, and we have really good secure on the side of Cinco Galemo because they have that Mega Horn with no retreat, and no retreat is what Cinco Galemo is going to do here as they take away the Rayquaza with commanding position. 2 KOs going over to the Phalanx, and that is going to be an early white flag by Meta S.
Oh, I'm sorry, Krinsky. I praised you in the first best of 3, saying you are support main, playing a good defender picks. But here, Krinsky, a bit too aggressive, trying to score at a timing where you shouldn't try to score. Well punished by the Cinco Galemo team, delaying the crosshaul, trying to get the KO the later they could to delay the respawn of the crosshaul on the Fia Sky Ruins. And then what an awesome catch on the Mimikyu. Got stunned, wonderful move by Fize, Mr. Mime, and then 5v3 with, as you said, Phalanx Mega Horn, which is one of the best way to secure an objective in the game, actually. I mean, there was a not a free flip for Psychogolemo, but it's very hard to take down an retreat, fallings, tanking these damages, getting ready with its Mega Hound to secure the Rayquaza. And yeah, even Snow Shaking wasn't enough. They didn't have the time to take down the fallings to get the space around the Rayquaza, while the Psychogolemo damages were enough to the objective, into this objective to burst it, secure it, and get a pretty convincing first game. I was afraid with the draft against that Venusaur, but he weren't that big in the end, never was. And yeah, the Meta Slaves never had the opportunity to transform their leads. They were ahead on some team fights, on some interactions, and then they were able to take something concrete, as I said. So something concrete is scoring points, scoring 100 points, getting 1 or 2 KOs, getting an objective in the map. So apart from the Regirock they tried to get, and they got stealed by the Mr. Mime, they, just tried to invade, tried to do things, but always got punished by Psychogolemo, giving shutdowns to them, while Psychogolemo playing their game, playing their macro game. They got points in, they got the lead, they secured it with a great engage from Fize and got the win in the end. So kind of weird game because Psychogolemo, they dominated all the way, but Meta Slaves, I thought it's going to be frustrating for them because they had the lead and they should have transformed it.
So here's the thing, right? We can continue to talk about how, one of these teams has a better composition, especially into a phalanx, but we can hypothesize and theorize all we want, but it also comes down to the execution of the team, right? And I feel like for Meta Slaves, they definitely had a really strong composition against that phalanx. Of course, they had the Giga Drain. We were talking about the Shadow Sneak and Shadow Claw for Mimikyu. But one thing that we didn't really talk about is there wasn't a whole lot of team fighting that game, right? And we can see that in the numbers that come in the post game. Of course, we didn't have that last minute and a half of the game, but overall, pretty low damage numbers for both of these teams. 69,000 damage was your damage leader. That was Mew on the side of Psychogolemo, but everything else really low in terms of their damage numbers. And we can see, look at this response. Meta S on our purple side is going to ban out both the Phalanx, so no little troopers this time, and also Mew is going to be taken off of the field as well. So good adjustment by Meta S. They do now have the first pick. They're going to pick, arguably, I think, one of the best defenders in the game in that Trevenant. Psychogolemo is going to respond with that Crustle on their side.
Yeah, it's a great first pick, and Krinsky showed he is really great with Trevenant, last best of 3, with which we started the day on Unite Battle Hub. Response of Physic, Crucial, not his best pick, but we'll see how it plays out. We have Espion and Upa. We have the basement for a very aggressive comp on Meta Slaves. We can go double attacker, double defender, but I'm not a big fan with Upa since you lack healing to protect your front lane, your 2 defenders. So we'll see. And you have the Glaceon Sylveon duo, which is really, really, really great to take down defenders with Hyper Voice that will drop the special defense of the defenders for the Glaceon to shred them.
Ooh, a really fun last pick option for Meta S as they pick up that Zoroark. And I know the European region, they love their speedsters, Dojo being one of them and the other one being this Zoroark. And it's really strong in that last pick option, especially when you have 2 squishy attackers on the other side. Not a whole lot of displacement and crowd control for Psychogolemo. I mean, they have that Crustle with the X-Scissor, but in terms of overall crowd control on their team, I would say there's not a whole lot this Zoroark has to deal with. But I think another really fun option is going to be this Serena. They do have that Unite move that singles out a single character, so it's going to be an interesting interaction to look at how the Serena is able to grab the Zoroark, and if the Zoroark can preemptively predict that Unite move coming out by either cleansing that Unite move from the Serena with an illusion, the passive ability for Zoroark, or maybe using the full heal as an option too.
Yeah, and the Zoroark without a full heal, it will be very difficult for him to play. There's the illusion to counter the Unite move, as you said, but there's the Grassy Glide, there's also some crowd control from Tsarina that can break the Zoroark's combo, so it's not easy to play Zoroark against Tsarina, actually, especially when it's Volto playing it. He's a big lover of its Tsarina pick. That's how we knew him in the European scene, how we discovered him with its insane Tsarina plays, but a slave that still went with the aggressive type of composition. I like it, as I said. I wasn't quite sure about the double attacker composition. They went with the Zoroark, and which I think will be Scizor Scyther. I think it's a Scyther game. I hate Scizor. I will be honest, Riku. I hate Scizor. Like, honestly, for me, it's one of the worst Pokemon in the game. Yeah, it's a big waste if you want my opinion, but I think it's going to be a fighter either way. Like double speedster comp, you know what I mean, to get into these evolutions. It will not be easy to play. I think either Scizor and Scizor are hard to play, but Scizor is, very bad in this game. You cannot play Scizor against double attacker evolutions for me.
Alright, looks like Bouncy was able to get one stack for themselves, supported by this little Gloss Gossifleur in the top path. Looks like they do get that early evolution at level 4. Again, they don't get their primary abilities till later on, so we'll see how well this now Steenie in the top path is able to function. It looks like the Zoroark is pivoting up through the central area into the top path. I think they did get vision on the Glaceon, so there's going to be both junglers hanging out in the top path, grabbing that Salac Berry and increasing that speed. Here comes the Zoroark gank through the central area. A little bit late to secure any of that farm. They're going to use, oh my goodness, take a look at that. They used the execute on the Steenie, bounced off of the Steenie and into the Hoopa hyperspace. So it's pretty cool. Didn't get a whole lot of value from it, but still cool nonetheless.
Icy Wind Glaceon, since Icicle Speed got nerfed in the last patch, and Icy Wind was still pretty good. So as we expected, we're going to see more Icy Wind in the coming month. And yeah, I was going. Well, I didn't saw the items from the Scizor, except the Focus Bang, which is playable on both Scizor and Scizor, but it's a Scyther. On the near outside, you cannot play Scizor in this game. And you wanted Tsarina. I see Volto, not yet level 6. The Scyther is going to put pressure on that top path while we are getting to play around our central Altarium.
Yeah, one thing we haven't really talked about is double speedster into double attacker, right? And so those attackers are going to feel very vulnerable, especially with those two characters having so much burst damage between the two of them. It's gonna, it's
they
gonna
are
be
still
a hard
evolutions
ask.
though.
Yeah. It's going to be a hard ask for this
great.
Crustle to defend those. I think a really important tool for the single Galemo team is going to be the Cotton Spore from the Eldegoss. Again, it does provide a little bit of crowd control around that AoE circle that forms around the Eldegoss, and then it blows up, kicking characters up on the enemy team within that area of effect. But again, not a whole lot of crowd control to stop two speedsters as we see this Glaceon get absolutely eviscerated in the top half, and it looks like this Eldegoss might be looking the same as well. They are able to get a couple of KOs. They're going to be going down, and first set of objectives and not a whole lot of points scored on either side. 27 points going in for Meta S in that bottom tier goal zone, but both objectives now on the map, and pretty low experience game so far, as we do see Unite move available for Meta S in that Espeon being the first one available to the teams.
And level 6 for the Tsarina arrived on point. Volto able to get a KO into the Scizor will help him in the late game a lot, because now he's ahead in terms of XP. Two of the Metal Slaves Pokemon are way ahead, as you said, Draco. 2 Unite moves coming from Metal Slaves in that team fight. The first one from Snow, which is doing a really great start of the game on its Zoroark. What a pain for Siko Golemo.
Oh my gosh, that KO streak for 3 for Snow in that bottom path. They're going to also score in huge, and look at all those juicy stacks for that attack weight for Snow. Once again, just really getting the most amount of value here. They're going to go deep into the speed flux zone. Do they get the last hit KO? They do on the Sylveon, sending them back to their Pokeball in this double speedster composition. I mean, it's only been Snow on the Zoroark, so when this team fighting goes off, I mean, Serena has that Unite move, but of course you can only use it on one. Which speedster do you
Yep.
decide to use it on? If you use it on the Zoroark, well, that just leaves the door wide open for the Scyther to do the exact same thing.
And Volto tried to unite move the Zoroark, but he was in that boosted feint, so the unite move from Volto got cancelled, and then Snow can go find another double KO, and will be more. It will be more with the Scyther unite move, and Volto will not change anything. What a push from Meta Slaves! What a game from Snow! That guy can play top path, can play bottom path, can play central area, he can play speedsters, attacker. What can this guy cannot do?
Oh my gosh. I mean, they took out the Zoroark there, right? And then all of a sudden, this Scyther coming in with their own Unite move, getting a sweep of themselves. So again, you KO one of the speedsters, the other one comes roaring in. And Cinco Galemo, they have to find a response here, but I don't know if they have it. They don't have enough HP. They don't have enough crowd control. The only thing they can really rely on is the amount of objectives they take. But even with their team, they don't have a whole lot of objectives secure. They have Icy Wind, but unfortunately that's not as strong as say a Zoroark Unite move. But here we go. It looks like Cinco Galemo is going to try to make the first move here in the top path, as they are able to take the Regieleki, bring this tier 1 goal zone down, fragment this top path. It's going to be a really good scores coming in for Cinco Galemo, as they're finally significantly on the board, 285 to 94, still about a 200-point lead though, Pump.
This is a turning point into the game, at least the start of a turning point, because they got a big shutdown into that Zoroark, gave a lot of experience to Volto Strarina and to the Glaceon. It's the Glaceon that got the experience. The Eldegoss got the KO, but with the multi-X, the experience got into the Glaceon, thanks to the XP share. And then once again, Meta Slaves, what an aggressivity! They are going to the Glaceon, but they are just giving away shutdowns! Even though Snow is able to find that triple KO with the unite move, no! Frize get back, and it's another shutdown for Cinco Galemo. This kind of moves, they are not in Meta Slaves' favor. It's all good for Cinco Galemo, because 1 KO into a level 13 Zoroark is worth more than 3 KO, 2 KO for that Zoro.
And here's the thing about speedsters too, right? They have a really strong early game, but as soon as the other team starts to get their levels, starts to get access to their Unite move and their plus ability, they start to get more value. They get less value as the game goes on, and you can see that here. You know, any KO on these speedsters is always going to be to the benefit of the other team. They're going to give a lot of experience, but they're also going to get them a lot closer to KOing them in the latter half of the game. These speedsters, they always have to be very careful, because they have less reservoir on their HP pools. They can get KO'd very quickly in the latter half of the game.
Yeah, and that's why Zeraora is not really played, as you said, because Zeraora is weak in the start of the game and is weak in late game for the reasons you mentioned. So, you know, kind of hard to play that kind of Pokemon. But anyways, Kogulemo, with the great mid game, with the shutdowns, got that Regieleki that they defended. They are only like 150 points behind. Level 13 of the Tsarina and the Sylveon as well. As think the Glaceon will get it. He will be level 13, and so it's pretty even in terms of level. Cinco Galemo, as I said in the mid game, it was a turning point. Now is the time to make the turning point a lead if they want to come back, because that points difference is huge. And look at the minimap, look at the Zoroark position deep into Cinco Galemo central area.
Yeah, they're also about to be level 14 as well. Double time for both of these teams. Again, this is a best of 3 single elimination tournament. So Meta S needs this win to stay in today's qualifying event. And right now, it looks like Cinco Galemo's, their team is rather spread out here, Pump. They have a Serena in the top path. They have 2 members in the jungle, 2 members getting some vision in the central area. Looks like Cloud and Cloud Crash is going to be used rather early on by Where. Can they get the KO here? No, it's going to get reset by the Hoopa portal. They're going to take the long way around, but of course they have the tier or the bottom lane goal zones to work with. But here we go. It looks like Cinco Galemo is starting to work on the Rayquaza, moving through the central area. Here comes the Zoroark, going to use that Unite move. They're not going to really get anything out of it. First KO going over to Cinco Galemo, second KO, and that Espeon going over to them as well. Everything right now going in the favor of Cinco Galemo. Let's see if they can get the Hoopa going down as well. Scyther is on a pixel in the top Elbush, and it looks like Cinco Galemo is going to take the objective here, push the tempo on the Rayquaza, already brought down to less than 25%. Here comes the Scyther. Can they get this one here? No! Looks like the objective going over to Cinco Galemo with 30 seconds left. Meta S is going to throw up that white flag. Cinco Galemo going on to the grand finals of today's European qualifier.
And as you said, the speedster into the late game when the opponents got access to their Unite moves, they tend to be weaker, and we saw it. Snow tried to engage, Snow tried to use its Unite move on both N and Greg, but the two Unite moves from the evolutions got them out of the Unite move of the Zoroark, got them out of the damages, and they were able to get down that Zoroark, which was the only Pokemon really fed into the Meta Slaves team, because Scyther didn't add that much of a great game, as you can see here. Even Shuriken wasn't putting that much damages out, so Snow out of the equation, the Cinco Golemo were able to put their game, and lots of regrets for Meta Slaves, I think, on this game, because they had really strong early game, but as I said, the turning point at 5 minutes where they gave 1-2 shutdowns, that moment when they get into Cinco Golemo central area, Snow gets KO'd, Nihat as well, and it's all these interruptions, all that comeback experience given to Cinco Golemo Pokemon. They got into Rayquaza with the same levels than the opponents, and with a much stronger composition in late game, so they were able to get back into this game. The small mistakes from Meta Slave, small mistakes, were really well punished by Cinco Golemo. Deserved win.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of the downfall of speedsters, right? You're really strong early game, you get so many levels, but this is a really good example of how strong comeback experience is if you're able to KO one, even two of those really high valuable, high experience holding Pokemon on the other team. But as this is a single elimination tournament, Meta S is going to be saying goodbye, at least for today's qualifiers. They do have next week's qualifiers and the last chance qualifiers, but for today they are going to be watching the rest of today's events on the sidelines. We have one more semi-final and of course the grand finals at the end of today's broadcast. Do not go anywhere. We still got a lot. Pokemon Unite here for you.
Welcome back to our EU qualifier for the United Battle Hub Elite Tour. I'm pumped still with the GOATs, Caleb and Draco. Ready, guys, for our second semi-final. We just saw Cinco Golemo earlier taking that first spot into the final, which will determine which team will qualify for the main event. We have now Galaxy number 1, huge team facing the Team Chunk class that just beat Los. I don't want to make a mistake in the name of the team because my Spanish is not really good. Los Caducados. Thank you. I was going to say something else. Los Caducados, top 4 into the regionals EU. That is a big upset from Team Chunclast. What can we expect, Draco, from this matchup?
Well, Galaxy N1, if you want to take a look at all the players on this team, I think you are going to be familiar with a lot of them. This is the number 1 seed team for today's event, and you can basically call this team Yalla Bingo and Connoisseurs put into one. Of course, Connoisseurs made it all the way to the grand finals of the regional finals for Europe last weekend, and of course, Yalla Bingo did not make it that far. I believe they made it to top 5, definitely, but they are going to be making their way to Hawaii in 2 months. So this team is going to be a hard one to take down, I'd say.
But facing them, we have experienced players. We have Ofskita playing Flate from Vamos, top 6 in the regionals, a seed 4 in the EU region. We have a Starchild from Neocentry Red, a team that achieved the top 8 earlier in this season in the UCS. So Team Chanclas is not here, for nothing. So yeah, Caleb, when you have some underdogs like this taking down big teams like Los Caducados, which are in shape right now, you need to be careful from these outsider teams. You don't expect much from them, but you can get punished really quickly, especially in that best of 3 format, single elimination.
Definitely. And, Team Chonklas, they have less to lose here. So they're going to play their hearts out. We're going to see if they can pull off an upset or not. But they made it so far into the semifinals in this tournament. And like you said, single elimination, anything can happen. I mean, you win game 1, you got the momentum, and then game 2, you flip that equation in your favor, and it could be all over. So I'm very excited to see how this one shakes down. We get the other side of our semifinals bracket because of our kind of bracket was a little bit staggered. So really cool to see more games here before we head into the finals. So it's going to be a good one. Cinco Galemo waiting to see who their opponents is. I'm sure they're tuning in as well to see what strats they come up with, but I'm excited to see how this one shakes out.
Yes, hello to our friends from Cinco Golemo, maybe watching us, waiting for the opponents. I think they want to see, maybe Team Chunclass winning, but it's going to be hard, to be honest, Draco. As you said, this is an all-star team in Galaxy number 1.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at Team Chonclaws, they have one of the most fearsome weapons in across cultures, across regions, and it's the Chonclaws. So
let's go.
Gotta be really careful. If you've had one of these thrown at you as a kid, maybe from your mom or your grandma, it could be a very deadly weapon. So this Galaxy team, it might be astronomical, but it might not be enough to handle.
The Chunclass power too strong. But I hope if they get into grand final that we have that Cinco Gremo will use the French Chunclass power to get down the opponents. Very comfy. It's more comfy, but maybe less harming, because it's French. We are distinguished.
A little softer.
Softer. But Chunclass is more aggressive, and they will need aggression against a team like Galaxy N1. Caleb, when we are an underdog facing a team favorite, most often you want maybe to trick them into, some cheesy composition, cheesy drafts. Is it going to happen for you? And if yes, what could be a surprise pick that could work that Chunclass could use to surprise Galaxy N1? We spoke about Camerant earlier, about some buffed DCDI, about the fallings. What do you think could surprise Galaxy N1?
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen really any any Decidueye throughout today or Cramorant. So I think if you're going to go for some cheese strats, you might go for some objective ripping potentially. So Decidueye Race Leaf maybe has some play, but I would love to see some Cramorant make it onto the big arena as well. As
I saw the white roulette.
yeah.
Yeah, this is the issue from the caster. Like the roulette got very white with the lights, caster issues.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
So, we're going to see how it goes. I mean, I think also if you're the underdog, if you get an early advantage, you can build off of it. Anything can happen as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if you play well or not. If you're, multiple levels ahead of your opponents, you have a lot more room for error. So, I believe in potential upset, but we'll have to see. They have their work cut out for themselves.
We'll see. And Caleb, you talked about Razor Leaf Decidueye. Draco, as a Decidueye player, do you think we can see that kind of play? Will be a very cheesy one. Caleb, choose well.
Well, as I was saying earlier on in the broadcast, Razor Leaf is it's a very difficult ability to pull off in a team setting. I think you can definitely take advantage of it, but you can never underestimate the power of secure in this game, and that is really what Decidueye was known for when it was released, and still to this day it is known for today. Spirit Shackle is still a very consistent secure. I would say it's an even better secure than Snipe Shot and Inteleon, because of its ability to pierce to the extent of the target, whereas Snipe Shot always stops on the first enemy Pokemon it hits, whereas Spirit Shackle can go through the length of the ability. But we shall see. But we're going to get into our first game here. Phalanx Umbreon is going to be the bans. No little guys today.
Yeah, Galaxy N1. Okay, sorry, no, Caleb, you can go, Caleb. I was just going to give it away to you because we have Gek, Potato, Internal, Lunder, and Zimo Coach Reginel, which is Nachos, the all-star team facing our outsider from teacher class. Let's see if we have any upset in this draft. Casters, Caleb, take it away.
All right, thank you, Pump. We did see the Phalanx make a brief appearance in the last series, but met with a back-to-back bans in the last two games, including this one. And looking like Leafeon did sneak through the ban phase, though, so could be a solid pickup. We see the Slowbro and the Leafeon picked up for Team Chonclaws here to kick things off for their side.
Yeah, Leafeon arguably is one of the best characters in the game at the moment because of how strong it really applies that pressure in the early game, as most speedsters do, but have some pretty devastating abilities both in the standard speedster build in Razor Leaf, and you also have a more attacker-oriented build, last hitting with that Solar Blade. So both of those abilities really devastating in the early game. But, as speedsters are, and as Leafeon does normally get picked the first part of the draft, you can counter pick it very easily, as most speedsters are, with lots of crowd control. I did really briefly see them hover over Pikachu with that Volt Tackle, applies a lot of displacement and basically just holding that Leafeon in place as they weave in and out of your team. But we'll see what Lunder decides to do here. A couple more seconds left here, and we do see a Gengar. Again, it was kind of picked very late in the draft, but also very late in that timer, as you see in the center of your screen. So I wonder if that was the actual selection here for Zmog on that Gengar.
I haven't seen a Gengar make any competitive impact in a hot second, or really ever. So we're going to see how Galaxy plays that one out. We get the Buzzwole to round out the picks for Team Chonclaws here. Really solid pick, even after some of the nerfs they got in recent patches. So this is going to be an interesting one. I mean, a lot of burst damage on the side of Galaxy. So in the wrong situation, that Chandelure and Leafeon could go down pretty quick. But there's a lot of bulk on the side of Team Chonclaws as well, with that Blissey, with that Slowbro, a lot of self-sustain on that Buzzwole as well. So we'll see how it goes. I think our eyes are going to really be on Smog and that Gengar, right? If you can get snowballing early, pick off some Pokemon, get the low advantages, then that Gengar is going to look pretty unstoppable. But there's a lot of health bars to chew through on the side of Team Chonclaws at the same time.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Gengar, right? And especially when you have Leafeon on the other side, this is a perfect example of, kind of why Gengar has really fallen off, has really been at the lower end of the speedster category. Speedsters tend to scale really strongly in the early game. You see that with Leafeon, like I was talking about at level 4, whereas Gengar needs to at least be level 5 to get, access to its first primary ability in Dream Eater or Hex. But again, you get that Shadow Ball at level 7, but you really want to get to level 9 to make the most amount of impact. So the real question is, can the late game scaling Gengar go up against this early game scaling Leafeon? What we might see in the early game, your ganks at level 5, but everything after that, the 850 birds, you want to watch out where this Leafeon decides to go, because they could stay in the top path and really make this Gengar's life difficult to get those stacks going.
And it looks like it's going to be a top lane Gengar as well, as we see things come through here. A few missed autos, but it's all good. Here we have the top lane coming through. Looks like Chansey might be getting called out here a little bit. Gengar, Ghastly, I should say, with the lick damage. And here we have Leafeon joining forces on the top side of Team Chonkos as well. You see a Sylveon meeting as well. So 3-on-3 action here. Sylveon goes low, Leafeon goes low as well, but both teams still hanging strong here. Solar Blade is going to come through, just gets out in the nick of time. All these Pokemon in really low health bars, but somehow no one goes down quite yet, as both sides are going to kind of reset before this first set of bird spawn. But this is looking like it's going to be some intense action in this top side, at least in the first few minutes.
Yeah, I think we see representation of all EVs in this game, at least one of them not being played and or banned out. Looks like a lot of that experience going over to the left side, as we do see level 5 evolution by the Haunter. They do get a reset off of that Dream Eater on the opposing Speedster, and so like I was saying before, looks like this Gengar is having a really good early game. Caleb.
Yeah, not only taking out the Leafeon as well, but getting the buff, and down goes Chansey as well to internal Koopa. Getting the reset on the Haunter is going to be crucial, but it looks like internal is going to go down to that Buzzwole. So getting some experience back on the side of Team Chonklos. Haunter, though, feeling pretty good in this early game, already level 5 here. And meanwhile, it looks like Potato is going to try to go for a little invade here, and just barely misses. The Soul Blade is going to secure that red buff, but it's not going to end there. And they're going to just go back and forth, but looks like, just Leafeon saying, thanks for the leash here. I'm just going to secure with the Solar Blade, make things a little bit easier. I think Sylveon is going to give up and go back towards these middle birds, as we see a skirmish here. Members from both teams piling in, but looks like Potato is able to secure most of the birds before anyone else shows up. Potato might be in a bad spot, trying to get the reset through the Hyperspace Soul, does go through, and now Team Chonkos is actually on the run instead. Full health bars on the side of Galaxy is going to put him in an advantageous position. Slowbro goes down to the Sylveon as well. So things are looking pretty good for Galaxy in these first few minutes.
Yeah, level 7s on both of these evolutions. Espeon level 7 in that bottom path, really taking the advantage above that Lampent with a Chandelure in that lane. Here comes the Sylveon once again, really just applying so much pressure on every stage of, or every place on this map, in the central area, in the top lane. This Hyper Voice is so difficult to deal with, Caleb.
Yeah, it's just consistent damage, right? As long as you're facing the right direction, you can guarantee you're going to do some damage output for sure. And you see Potato pretty on point with that damage output. And here they're going to start burning down this Regice. However, Team Chocos is going to contest it, at least with 3 of their members. Here comes the 4th as well with Leafeon here. Buzzwole's going to stay on the top side, getting some scores in, and Galaxy has a fantastic position here. Can they secure the Regice is the real question. Leafeon does have that Soul Blade, but just way too low on health to get close, and just gets it back in time as it weaves back in for that Regice. Haunter goes down as well. Potato looks like it's going to go down too, and does finally go down to the Chandelure. So a huge swing of momentum going for the team side of Team Chonklas. They have a lot of health bars too, but they have to be careful playing on this opponent's goal zone, especially with Trevenant with a lot of self-sustain as well. Looks like Buzzwell's starting to work on this Regieleki though, and Smog is still trying to evolve into that Gengar. Getting that final form is a little bit hard to do right now with not a lot of farm on the map and a Regieleki pushing onto this tier 1 goal zone.
Yeah, my dog definitely getting pretty excited at that last engagement. If there's one thing that we haven't talked about yet, is this team composition for Team Chanclas, our orange team here. They have really good secure on their team. One from the flamethrower to the Chandelure. We haven't really seen that very much during this game, but you also have that Solar Blade too. Such really strong securing options here. Buzzwell's going to go into that Unite move. They're not going to hit the Gengar, which I think was their intended target. Sylveon's going to be able to get one KO there, and a skirmish here. Emerald two-step finds its way onto two. Blissful Assistant as well. Here comes Leafeon on the prowl. Can they get a KO here? Looks like the Espeon was able to make it back home. Sylveon, though, got to be really careful. Can they get the last hit here? Potato getting smacked down by the Solar Blade, getting fried in the central area.
Yes, Leafeon has been super on point with the Solar Blade secures on the opponents and on the objectives. And getting that huge knockout is going to be crucial to maintain their advantage. But Gengar is online now and definitely can do some work. These hyperspace whole resets has been really clutch for Galaxy as well. A lot of times almost going down to side Team Chonkos, but just getting back to safety for those resets. And it looks like Gengar going to go for a solo 1v1 against Buzzwell. That's a huge pickup. And speaking of huge pickups, they're going to pick up a lot of points on this top side unless the Leafeon can stop it. It looks like no, Leafeon by themselves, 3 versus 1. Going to be a tough one. Buzzwell is going to be joining up. Meanwhile, Reggie Rock is going to be the objective on the bottom side. And you see more members of Team Chonkos is going to be at this fight. See if they can secure it yet again or not. And Amnesia trying to pull out the Hoopa before the reset, but unfortunately not timed perfectly there. However, all things considered, things are going well. Another 1v1 here going down, and you see the Gengar coming through the hyperspace hole, or coming through the Hoopa Unite, I should say. And here we have a fight going on, 5v4. Numbers advantage obviously outside of Galaxy, especially with that Hoopa porting over that Gengar. Getting some more resets here, but is the resets going to be punishing or not? Because now they don't have timing to get the Reggie Rock. But no, Sylveon, 2 knockouts. Psychic Solaire comes out as well. Slowbro goes down, and this fight is all Galaxy. Here comes Buzzwell. Can Buzzwell be the hero they need right here? Not a lot of securing power either, and the Woodhammer is going to just zone off the Buzzwell, no problem. Now Buzzwell just 1v5 here, and it's going to go down to Sylveon as well. And the fight just continues as you see Galaxy pushing an advantage onto his bottom tier 1 goal zone.
Yeah, let's see if they can break a goal zone here. There is a lot of points on this goal zone left with 80 points, as you can see underneath that goal zone. One thing that is to the benefit of this Galaxy team is that even though they might not have secure, they can team fight for a very long time. Like you were saying, Caleb, with that Hoopa or the Hoopa portal can reset their team, but they also have very consistent damage, as we've been talking about with that the hyper voice from the Sylveon, but you also have the stored power from the Espeon as well. Those abilities getting adjustments over the last few patches, but nonetheless still very consistent damage in that mid-range.
And maybe a little panic bliss assistance moment from the side of Team Chonkos. Kind of a late one. I think only about at the 2-minute 40 mark here. And we see Galaxy securing this Reggie, like maybe even holding on to it for a hot second so that it's pushing into that tier 2 gold zone on the side of Team Chonkos as Rayquaza spawning up. Here you see Galaxy, 5 members here pushing their advantage onto this bottom gold zone. Can they get the overdunk off with the extra penalty time? No. So it's going to be a 0 overdunk, a clean 80 points going in onto their side. Reggie Lucky does go in on the side of Team Chonkos' tier 2 goal zone. Meanwhile, Team Chonkos getting 100 points on that tier 1 goal zone. Points are getting kind of close, but 82 on the side from Smog and that Gengar. So they are up ahead on levels and points going into this Rayquaza fight. Team Chonkos definitely needs this more than Galaxy does.
Yeah, 121 points separates these teams as we head to double time. Again, this is a best of 3 single elimination. So like we were saying earlier on the broadcast, each of these battles is very high tension. Slowbro is going to find 3 members of Galaxy, is forced back over to the right side. They have their Blissey, of course, here, and they have all of that HP to recover. That's the passive ability of Slowbro. They don't take that damage right away. It is spread over a period of time. But it looks like right now Galaxy, they have a really dominating position in the central area. They are going to find a Gengar, Ghost type, all on their lonesome. They're going to swim down into the dark dimension. They found the Leafeon. Leafeon's going to get supported by that blissful assistance. So Unite move from the Gengar. Not a whole lot of value, Caleb.
Yeah, but grabbing the Bliss Assistance now is not a bad play either here for
Mhm.
Galaxy, because now they don't have as much sustain in this upcoming fight. The levels are just not there for Team Chonkla. Yeah, Buzzwell only level 12, but doing what they can here. And here we go. Hoopa Unbound comes through, putting all they can. And Chandelure quite low on the side of Team Chonkla is going to go down, as well as the Buzzwell as well. Leafeon down too. That's all the damage for the side of Team Chonklas. What are they going to do here? You see Blissey running for their life here, trying to get off an incredible score, and it looks like the surrender is going to come through from Team Chonkla. It's only 20 seconds to go. Not much time to score. Definitely not enough time to burn that Rayquaza when you got two lower damage Pokemon on the side of Team Chonklas remaining. So Galaxy, very strong performance, especially from that mid to late game. I think early game, it was Team Chonklas, especially with the first objective spawning. Oscatar really doing a lot of work on that Leafeon early on. But it looks like Smog, MVP, finding the Gengar to snowball a little bit from that mid to late game and really putting in some work. And I think the whole thing was the level advantage was just on the side of Galaxy going into that last fight, and they also just executed that team fight really well.
Yeah, I think one thing we can talk about here is the execution of these various team compositions. They're very different in their team compositions. We kind of alluded to it during this game, but again, heavy secure potential on the side of Team Chonklas. But what they gain in secure is they lack in team fighting prowess, right? And we have this consistent damage approach by Galaxy. They don't have very good secure across their team, but as long as these team fights go for extended periods of time, that's where they're going to get their advantage. And so during these long engagements, Team Chonklas just cannot keep up in the healing because, of course, Blissey can only heal themselves and one other player every time they get the instance of their soft boiled. And whereas their Hoopa can reset 3 or 4 team members and then get them back in the fight very quickly.
Yeah, and I feel like Galaxy had a lot of really consistent damage from the side of Sylveon and Espeon, right? And Lunder and Potato on those two Pokemon, and just evolutions, like you said, all 4 evolutions in this game, and you know they're looking strong as ever, even after various nerfs, maybe a few buffs here or there, but more nerfs than not. I guess we didn't see the Glaceon in this game, but that's about it. But overall, though, fantastic execution from Galaxy throughout, and Smog on that Gengar didn't really get called out much, so able to just kind of weave in and out, and go for some 1v1s against the Buzzwole and just pick off some Pokemon, or just grab some early unites, grab the Bliss Assistance coming out from the side of Team Chonklas, forcing their unites early was definitely crucial in that fight. But yeah, it was an interesting one. I mean, the damage was pretty even on both sides. I think Galaxy just had the slightly better team fights and execution in the final minutes of the game, but I don't think Team Chonklas is out of it yet. They definitely have the potential to grab a game number 2 win and force a game number 3 here.
Yeah, once again, this is a best of 3. The winner of this is going to be going on to the grand finals to face our Cinco Guillermo team on the other side of the semifinals, who won their game against Meta S, and now they're just going to be watching closely to see what they can do against this Galaxy N1 team. And boy, is this a David and Goliath story, isn't it, Caleb? Again, we have members from players that are qualified for Worlds in Hawaii in 2 months, going up against, again, pretty consistent team members on the side of Team Chonklas, again, getting top 8 consistently, maybe top 16 consistently in the European region, but they got some Goliaths to go up against on the other side. When I think about their team composition, one thing that I thought really lacked, again, they really strong on their securing options, but in terms of taking objectives off of the map and having a stronger presence in those team fights, I think they need something that's just a little bit more consistent damage over a long period of time rather than just burst amounts of damage over short periods of time.
Yeah, I'm going to have to see how Team Chonklas adjusts here. We see a Mr. Mime ban off the start, which is kind of interesting. And then Leafeon, Mew ban makes a lot of sense as well. And let's see what Galaxy adjusts for this final ban on their side. Looks like it's going to be a Dojo as well, too. So, or maybe something else. It's going to be the Sylveon. All right, so 2 evolutions being banned. I think great picks overall. Mew as well, too. Curious about the Mime ban, but maybe someone's particularly good on the Mime on the side of Galaxy, or maybe you just don't want to see it. Looks like could be a potential first pick Umbreon. I like that pick a lot, especially with that Wish buff as well. So it's going to be a good, strong defender to kick things off. Matched by Gex Trevenant. and maybe we get the Hoopa again. Yeah, Hoopa's going to come through for Galaxy.
Yeah, really strong first picks for both of these teams. There's one thing I always talk about when I'm casting and during my broadcast is that the earlier parts of the draft, you're usually picking things that are very consistent, right? They're usually the highest characters in the metagame, as we see Umbreon, Trevenant, and Hoopa. Again, very consistent in their relative roles. They can flex into both a top lane all-rounder position, definitely more so for Trevenant than Umbreon, whereas Umbreon is more of a a defender supporter-oriented defender. But again, always very consistent in the first 3 picks of your draft. It really gets interesting once we get to the end of your draft, as we do see this Cramorant, the character that we were talking about earlier on today's broadcast. It's a very interesting character. Again, it can flex to kind of a speedster build with dive and air slash, having really good burst with that air slash ability depending on how close you are. But you also have the traditional mage build where you're casting Surf, Hurricane over a period of time, doing a lot of displacement, a lot of damage, but generally very immobile when you have that set.
Yeah, Pump is pumped to see that Cramorant pick too. It looks like Galaxy, we're talking about early on, is Team Chonkos the team that's going to try to cheese the opponents here and go for some off-meta picks? So it's actually going to be Galaxy picking the Gengar in game 1, and they're picking the Gyarados as well with the Cramorant and game 2. Love to see it. I mean, Gyarados, my personal favorite Pokemon of all time. So let's see how fast we get that Magikarp evolved and ready to go. But Cramorant, like you said too, I mean, if you're running the dive air slash, like I remember season 1 of Cramorant, that thing was just unstoppable. I mean, even when it wasn't bugged, it just looked like that thing just wouldn't go down in the right situations, in the right hands, and it was just putting out so much damage. So it did get a buff to Hurricane recently, so it might go for more of that mage build potential. We're gonna have to see how that goes. But triple evolutions on the side of Team Chongo is getting every evolution they can outside of the ones that are banned. We got the Snorlax defender pick as well, and they get some Lucario. So a lot of mobility on the side of Team Chonkos. I do like this. Gives them a lot more, kind of leeway, as well as to get Dovon. They have a lot more escape opportunities, especially with those Unite moves on the evolutions. They all provide a lot of peel for themselves. So we're going to see if they can pull off the upset against Galaxy, but I'm excited for this game. I mean, we got Cramorant, we got Gyarados, got my cat sneezing next to me doing, I don't know what she's doing, but it's going to be a good one.
Everyone loves a good underdog story, but also everyone does love a little bit of uniqueness, right? And that's what this Galaxy team has brought forth. They have Cramorant, most recently buffed. So I believe the cooldown on Dive and the damage or cooldown on Hurricane. I know those 2 moves were adjusted. I don't remember which way those abilities went, but it's the Cramorant heading down to the bottom path again to hold on to that classic bottom lane attacker role, and then Magikarp flopping around the top lane.
Yeah, and we're going to see if that Magikarp can get involved nice and early. That's going to be a huge pickup. But with 3 evolutions on side of Team Chonkos, they're going to get their evolutions pretty quickly. And Lucario Snorlax obviously don't have to evolve. So they're going to have definitely the early game advantage for sure. Speaking of Magikarp, getting caught out a little bit, trying to flop his way to safety. The Berry coming in clutch here. But after that, what are you going to do? Playing on the pad a little bit, getting hit by the mean look as well on the Umbreon, and it looks like early assistance from this Glaceon is going to be nice for the side of Team Choco, especially on the top side, really trying to limit that Magikarp as much as they can. Meanwhile, we got the Cramorant and Phantom grabbing their own farm as they set up for this bottom skirmish. But I think all eyes are going to be on this top side, as we have 3 members on both sides contesting the birds here. And here we go. We see the Combustion pushing the birds back quite a bit. Potato able to get that, and the Hyperspace Soul a little bit too far, so not going to go for the resets on the side of Galaxy, but they're okay so far. I'm not sure what this Magikarp's doing, trying to poke out the Lucario and Umbreon, but it's going to get punished for it. Goes down, and we get some more scores on the side of Team Chonkos. Meanwhile, Combustion still hanging around here, trying to get this Umbreon. Meanwhile, coming in really clutch to zone off the Combustion Hoopa on the side of Team Galaxy.
Yeah, Meanlook's still a very annoying tool to deal with, especially when you have 2 characters that really want to be up and in your face of that Magikarp and that Combustion, right? Meanlook recently got a nerf to its range, but of course, if you put anything in a little tank like this little fish is, this tank is a little out of water unfortunately able to make it back onto the field. So 8 minutes, still no Gyarados. So this is looking pretty good for Team Chonkloss, but the question is, how is the latter half of this game going to go as soon as this little carp has swam up that river? And so it has. We do see a Gyarados evolving into a full Gyarados in the top path, Caleb.
All right, and here we go. Things are coming online. Looks like Potato just going to miss out on the hyperspace whole reset. However, the scaling is on the side of Galaxy. Let's see if they can pull it off. Lunder just weaving in and out. So going for that more mobile dive air slash combination on the Cramorant. Old school Cramorant back in action. Getting hit up by that heavy slam. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of farm being contested here. Lunder quite low, though, on that Cramorant. So going to be a tough one. And here we go. We have Blaziken coming down as well. Hyperspace Hole is going to send some of this teammates back and forth on top side. Meanwhile, I think Gyarados is just going to skirmish back and forth against this Lucario. Regirock is going to be the first objective coming in on the bot side.
All right, it's going to be taken down by the air slash, followed up by the overheat. And looks like right now Team Chonkloss has their backs against the wall. Potato's going to be put in a box, and then it's going to be frozen up as the Glacier Stage gets put down. And here comes Chonkloss now going off the other way. Be careful walking into the tall grass with a foot on the other end. And Team Chonkloss, Galaxy N1 are going to disengage, but then apply pressure on elsewhere on the map. As we do see the Hoopa transport everyone up into the top lane. Overheat securing bottom objective and now securing the top objective. Team Chonkloss got to rotate faster because you got a Hoop on the other side. Going to make that very hard. Regieleki crashing into the tier 1 goal zone. Now they're going to get as much value as they can. Stack up this Gyarados. They got one more little bead there before they close this out with a nice overcap of, I believe that is 27, Caleb. It's going to balloon this lead to 107 to 64. Galaxy N1 on top halfway through the game.
And Smog, just like that, already level 9. I believe probably fully stacked as well at this point too. So gonna be quite nice. And here we go. The fight is gonna break through. Cramorant United starts zoning everyone off. Glaceon, Espeon, and Umbreon going down. All the evolutions are being paid, and is not going to be a good time. Meanwhile, you got Smog invading the side of the jungle on Team Chonkloss as well. So grabbing what they can, just bounces right out. Hyperspace whole reset is going to come through. A huge heavy step could have knocked him up, but just a second off, and Smog back in action, trying to get more from this fight. But looks like Galaxy going to just go back to their side, maybe grab some of their farm, but already a huge point advantage, 203 to 64. And Team Chonkloss is really the team with the early game advantage, but it looks like Galaxy is looking pretty in control of this game so far in the first half.
Team Chonkloss really needs to break a goal zone here, right? They're really pushed on their side of the map, and it allows this Hoopa to transport their team to the top and bottom path. And now all eyes are on Eternal as they do weave that spell of Ashanti to bring everyone down to the bottom. Hoopa goes into that unbound state. Looks like the Gyarados going into the Dragon. Current call this the Dragon Parade as it just started a couple of days ago. And right now, Galaxy N1 is parading all over Team Chonkloss, and as 4 team members push onto this goal zone, as we've seen before, Potato securing yet another objective for themselves. Regirock and that global EXP going over to Galaxy N1. Now a huge breakout in the central area. Can they get some KOs here? Lucario going down as well, and it looks like all the KOs going over to the side of Galaxy N1. They took the objective, they took the goal zone, and now they're taking all their money in the goal zones.
It looks like Team Chonkers just can't take a knockout whenever they try. Members on Galaxy are so low, but they just get out there fully healthy as well. Hyperspace whole resets has been absolutely clutch for the side of Galaxy. And meanwhile, you got a level 12 Cramorant, Gyarados, and Blaziken to deal with now too. Almost 3 level advantages over the Snorlax and Umbreon on the side of Team Chonkloss. This game is getting a little bit out of control too. The damage is just kind of nutty from the side of Galaxy as they're pushing their advantage here. Dragon Current comes through and is going to just coming up right on top of the tier 2 gold zone. 2 knockouts for Smog and this Gyarados, trying to make it 3 here. Doesn't quite do it, but just styling on the opponents right now. Level 13 on this Gyarados is looking pretty good, and it's going to just bounce right out of there, full health. And they're going to just try to keep grabbing this farm on the side of Galaxy. man, this is turned into a tough run from Team Chonklas.
Yeah, unfortunately, they just do not have enough damage to take down this Gyarados and Blaziken. Really, all eyes have been on this Gyarados, but, you know, we haven't really talked about this Blaziken. They basically have not been in any of the team fights, right? They can maybe weave some of these focus blasts in, but their entire job, Potato, has been just take objectives off of the map. And look at all the objective markings at the top right corner of your screen. 2 Regirocks, 2 Regielekis, all going over to Galaxy N1. I'm really worried for Team Chonklas right now, especially with this Regirock going over to Galaxy N1. Once again, it's going to give them that global EXP and a boost to their defense and special defense for the final stretch. So it's not looking good for our underdogs, Team Chonklas. And boy, does this Goliath look big in the last game.
It sure does. I mean, this is on the backs of a struggling Magikarp that's now a Gyarados that looks straight up unstoppable. Here comes a Dragon Current as well, avoiding all that damage. Comes through here, doesn't do a ton back, but stays alive and healthy, which is the most important part for your carries. And, you know, the mobility, especially with this bounces coming through. Hoopa Unbound comes out. Psychic Solar catches 2 out, but Team Chonklas, Espeon, just not enough damage. Meanwhile, Lucario goes down to Smog's Gyarados. Gyarados continue to do some work as well. Snorlax Unite is going to come through to disrupt a little bit of something for the side of Team Chonklas, but how do they do the damage still, right? They still down over 200 points, almost 300 points at this point in time. No Memory Cell inside of Galaxy has gone down yet, and now Snorlax finally goes down. Hyperspace Hole Recess, absolutely heartbreaking for the side of Team Chonklas. They do so much work to put some damage in, and they just come back from Galaxy full health. Time and time again, Blaziken just whirling through, huge, double knockout, taking out the Umbreon, and that's going to be another surrender from Team Chonklas. Incredible performance from Galaxy in game number 2. I mean, even more dominant than that first game. And look at that, all 5 objectives going on the side of Galaxy.
Yeah, it's a tough one to see that one. You always love to say if there's a Ray, there's a way, but I don't think Rayquaza could even get you back into this game as they were down almost 400 points the last minute of the game. They expended all of their Unite moves. I don't think there was really any form of team fighting in the final stretch either. Now, the Glaceon got KO'd rather early on by the Blaziken or the Gyarados. I don't remember who it was, but they got taken down rather early on, and only 32k on your damage carries, both 32k and 30,000 damage on that Lucario. It's a huge ask again going into a team with these all stars on Galaxy N1, but definitely a valiant effort nonetheless.
Definitely. And Galaxy just playing incredibly well, too. I mean, Lundra on that Kramer. I feel like that Kramer could have been anything. They would have been doing just fine there, too. Because Smog putting up 85k damage on that Gyarados. And, of course, you always have to consider there's a good portion of the game where they're just Magikarp doing literally 0 damage and just snowballing super quick once they get that Gyarados evolution. But yeah, it's been a fun series from Galaxy, and they'll be facing against Cinco Galemo coming up in this final. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere because we're going to have some exciting games coming up very shortly.
We have made it to the grand finals of the European qualifiers here for our Elite Tour, the Unite Battle Hub. Once again, Drake Gusan, your host. We got Caleb and Pump again if you're just joining us. And boy, have we come to, again, a David and Goliath story. This Galaxy N1 team really dominating in that last game. But if there's something that's to the favor of Cinco Galemo, they are also a top 8, top 16 placing team. They have all the information on this Galaxy N1 team, not only in UCS, but also in watching that last set. Before we get into this grand final set, we do want to thank everyone for tuning into today's event. We have quite a number of events here for Unite Battle Hub. Again, this Elite Tour is a month-long event leading up to the precipice at the end of the month, which is that main event. But we've got 2 more qualifiers for you, but also a last chance qualifiers next week. One for North America, one for Europe. And then for those of you that can't make it to both, or you are not able to make it through those qualifiers, we have our last chance qualifiers to make it to the main event. $500 at the end of the month. And also, I do want to mention one really unique thing that we have just started here at Unite Battle Hub. We have our player lounge, so a new Discord server for you to join to talk amongst the management staff, but also with other players to maybe even get some teams together for yourself. So use that command in the chat that should be popping up right about now. Join the player lounge for all the up-to-date information. But we are getting into the grand finals. Pump, you were watching that one. I'm sure you have a lot of information on these players. How do we stop this Galaxy N1 team, Pump?
It's going to be hard. Maybe the experience, since Galaxy N1 is a mix of players, as you said, the fusion between some Yala Bingo players mixed with Nachos, and so Cinco Golemo, they have the advantage to play together since a longer time, but yeah, these players, they always, play together in events like in houses and stuff like that, so they have the synergy. I don't have any issues. I don't think Galaxy is going into this grand final worrying about their synergies. They know they are the grand favorites, and it's going to be very hard for Cinco Golemo to take them down, I think.
And it's that age-old story of team chemistry versus team prowess, right? There's one team that has a lot of chemistry. They've been playing with each other for a long period of time versus a team that was put together for today's event and for, if they win today's event, for the extent of this month. That is Galaxy N1. So we shall see chemistry versus team prowess on this Galaxy N1 team. But we have Leafeon being banned out. Blastoise, one of the defenders, being nerfed pretty significantly in most recent patch. Still seeing a pretty high priority in the ban. Snorlax is also going to be banned out as well. So maybe Cinco Galemo as a first pick option. They're really prioritizing a really strong defender for their first option. But I'm going to go ahead and kick this off to you two. Let's bring this one home, boys.
All right, and we got 2 defenders banned on the side of Cinco Galemo, 2 grass types on the side of Galaxy, Leafeon and Trevenant. 3 defenders banned in total, so defenders are running a little bit low on the side for both teams to pick up. We get the first pick, Umbreon from Cinco Galemo. I'm very excited to see how Galaxy plays this out, because if you tune into our last series, they had a Gengar in the first game, they had a Cramorant and a Gyarados in the second game. They're having fun, and they're winning on top of it too, so going to see how they play out. Maybe get a Crustle lock in here. Looks like Crustle is going to be locked in here for Galaxy.
Yep, the show is on. Let's see some shiny picks. Hopefully, you were talking about the defenders winning low, but even with 3 defenders banned, we still have 2 great rounds picked. I mean, Umbreon and Crystal are so strong right now. It shows the status of the defenders right now in the meta game, as well as the status of Mew. Despite its nerf, it's a pick that the players love, especially Greg is very confident in his Mew. We have the Umbreon, so it will be a defender Umbreon, not a supporter one. And Lunde, once again for the second time today, putting on the show, and I will be able to cast a Cramorant game today. I'm happy.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one too. I mean, running the dive air slash combination in the last game, I assume we'll probably run something similar. Potato on that Sylveon has been really clutch as well. We got N picking up a low Ninetales. Oh, the Phalanx does sneak through as well through the BAM phase. Single Galemo did win their game. The only Phalanx we saw in today's broadcast so far on stream was from Single Galemo, and they were able to win with that Phalanx. So just using what works here, and we get the Venusaur as a final pick for the side of Galaxy. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Looking at the team comps alone, Pump, what are you thinking on who has a slight team comp advantage?
Obviously the Venusaur against Phalanx is always good. When we were talking about the shiny picks, we have triple attackers from the Galaxian one. Obviously, the Venusaur will take the place of a defender in a 2 mages to defender comp, but it's not poke because Lunder is most likely going to play dive. So we have an aggressive like death ball composition for Galaxy. Gek will be trapping some players with its walls, and then you have the hyper voice, maybe the Mystical Fire in this composition. I think would be Mystical Fire for Potato. And we have the Cramorant and the Venusaur Beetle Dance that will just go in a straight line into the opponent's back lane, into the as attackers. That's why the Ninetales, which is a pick we don't see very often, for me is a pretty good pick here. It will be able to, you know, catch the Cramorant very easily, to put damages and also crowd control to that Venusaur, because Venusaur Petal Dance 8 2-thing burst damages and crowd control. So I like that Ninetales a lot. We'll see how it works. The Mew is also able to have good receptioning capacities. So yeah, the Galaxian one is interesting, but Cinco Golemo, they have a great draft against it. So we'll see. And as we said, it's all about the execution now.
Definitely. And it looks like it's going to be a lone Ninetales jungle for the side of Single Galemo. Pretty interesting stuff there. But it looks like maybe they're going to split the buffs yet again. Yeah. They've been going, a lot of teams going for that strategy, and I think it's going to work out quite well for the side of Single Galemo as well, especially with a lot of these Pokemon evolving at level 4 here. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Venusaur with that Giga Drain will be able to proc onto every single one of the Phalanx segments. So a really great counter pick from Galaxy. Really smart pick as they picked that Venusaur last. But here we go. Vulpix getting quite low, but so is the side of Galaxy. And it's going to be the Sylveon going down first, and then the Chansey right after. Alone Ninetales picking up 2 quick KOs, which should be absolutely huge. Smog going to struggle a little bit 1v3 with this Bulbasaur into the lane on the top side of Single Galemo. But reinforcements are back. Potato is back with the Sylveon and gets a knockout on the Phalanx. So getting a knockout back over on the side of Galaxy to kind of stay a little bit even as they go into these birds. And it looks like most of the farm is going to go onto the side of Galaxy as we get that Blissey evolved up.
What an aggressive early game as Potato choose to play Hyper Voice. I'm a Mystical Fire hater and I love Hyper Voice, so I'm happy I was wrong saying Potato would play the Mystical Fire. That Ivysaur is putting under pressure because its Razor Leaves are being cancelled by the Ninetales, so we can put a big pressure into the top path for Single Golemo, but as you can see, it's Potato who is willing to put a big pressure into that central area and is going to win. It's 1v1 against the Ninetales while its team is still pushing on the top path.
Oh, that's absolutely brutal for Single Galemo as well. Getting your buff stolen and losing the 1v1 in the jungle, setting up Potato for a lot. And I think this is a lot of things that Galaxy's been doing well, right? Getting the levels on your other Pokemon so that Smog usually playing that more hyper carry role can just have more free reign and just more space to farm up and get pretty big. As we see, Ivysaur is evolved up and Eldegoss going down to Potato. Sylveon yet again. The Sylveon has been all over the place for the side of Single Galemo. You're going to just poke away with some solar beams, but we see Smog trying to get themselves evolved as soon as possible before this first objective. London on the Cramorant just happily farming with the Crustle down under on the bottom side of the map. Looks like 3v3 on top side, 2v2 on the bottom side. Smog and this Venusaur is evolved up. You can see the Giga Drain doing so much work, especially into that Phalanx as well. Petal Blizzard combo coming out onto the Smog. Venusaur as well. And we see Smog maybe going to stay up here as the rest of the members from Galaxy is going to rotate down for this bottom Reggie.
And I was wondering if Flunder was going to be able to reach its level 9 for this Registeel. We have a level 9 Cramorant using its Unite move right now, Caleb, and doing the job. The clean is done. Now we need to get that Registeel. Job's done for Galaxy, and now they have their eyes on that first goal zone.
Yeah, and a huge Solar Beam. Unfortunately, not enough to take out any members outside of Galaxy. They're trying to defend this bottom tier 1 goal zone as well. Umbreon is going to come, and a Solar Beam from Mew does take out the Cramorants. Blissey goes down to the Mew as well. Potato is the last defending member on the side of Galaxy. If they pick up Potato, that's going to be huge. Unite move is going to come out. Potato try and do it all by themselves. 1v4. Can they do it? No. Goes down to the low Ninetales. I don't know if that was worth it. Now you give a lot of experience onto the side of Single Galemo, and now points advantage going on the side of Single Galemo, but Smog, Verdant Anger coming through, trying to 1v4 here, gets back up from the Bliss Assistance and Cramorant, and Smog looking pretty strong as usual in these games, especially in that mid to late game is where Smog really excels on these carry Pokemon. I see some points raining through again back onto the side of Galaxy as the skirmish just continues to go forward. They're contesting the birds here. Meanwhile, Sylveon and that Potato taking out Phalanx yet again on that top side as Galaxy is well positioned for this Regieleki.
Wow, what a combination, what a combo, what a synergy, as we said, between the Blissey and the Venusaur. What a move from Internal following the call from Nachos, the Venusaur player, getting this Regieleki with its team. Now it's time for Galaxy N1 to put pressure. They came back into the game after Cinco Golemo avenged themselves from the loss of the first bottom path Golem, and now they want to push that Regieleki into the second goal zone, Caleb.
Oh, here comes the Gatling missile as well, and the Regieleki does go through. Everything going to the side of Galaxy right here. Mystical Mirage is going to come out. Phalanx jumps down too, but I don't know if you want to jump onto this Venusaur. Verdant Anger comes through. Mew goes down, and this Phalanx does not want to be Giga Drained from this Venusaur. You just keep this Venusaur alive even longer. Bliss Assistance comes through as well, and Smog's Venusaur just won't go down. Getting out of there as well. Level 11 so far. The rest of Cinco Golemo is going to try to chase down this Venusaur 4 vs 1. Can they secure Smog? No. Smog going to get out of there nice and healthy. Bunch of birds respawning as well for a lot of heal factor. Meanwhile, a fight going down on this bottom side. Gex just going 1v1, defender versus defender for a lot of this game as this bottom objective is coming through. You see Smog, yet again, going to be on that top side. So, numbers advantage on Single Galemo, but they are behind at this point. Can they take advantage of the numbers advantage is the real question. It looks like the Unite move from Umbreon is going to come through. Gex Crustle is going to go down. All 5 members still up on the side of Single Galemo, but here comes Smog and that Venusaur going to do 15 points here on first before coming in for the fights. Mew is going to secure the objective on that Regice though.
Yeah, and Volto still putting pressure in the front lane with its Phalanx, but who came back? Nachos with its Venusaur and the Unite move trying to clean the Cinco Golemo pushing. Now Galaxy N1 has a timing where they can trap the Cinco Golemo with the walls of Gek. Nice walls, but not enough to keep the Venusaur alive and not enough to take down the Phalanx. The Troopers and the Brass still alive, still defending, putting pressure on the Sylveon, but giving up on that first goal zone. Still a good push for Galaxy because we were on the we were able to steal that little one. The Galaxy, as I said, using the Unite moves in the great timing, 320. So the Unite moves will come back for the Rayquaza decisive team fight, and they scored a lot of points, more than 100 points lead. That's the threshold you need to reach to be safe from any side scoring of the opposite team in the late game. And most importantly, we have level 13 on the Venusaur, Giga Drain, Petal Dance, and look at the range of the Petal Dance. That's why the level 13, it's so important for Venusaur, and it's secured for Galaxy as well as the Regieleki.
Definitely, and another fight breaks through. Regieleki is going to go onto the side of Galaxy, but Cramoran does go down already. Can Galaxy push this Regieleki any further? They have about 12 seconds before the Rayquaza spawns, though, and so they're trying to get positioning for this final objective. You do have some solid level advantage. Well, not really even much of advantage actually on the side of Galaxy. It's actually fairly even. Over 150 point difference still on the side of Galaxy. Oh, and they catch the Eldegoss. The Eldegoss is going to go down to Smog's Venusaur. I like the play, though, not throwing the Unite out of panic, saving it for this fight, trying to reset. But meanwhile, Umbreon gets caught out as well from the Rock Tomb on the side of Galaxy. Umbreon gets out just fine, though. And now Eldegoss rejoining the fight. Gex Crustle pretty low at this point. Bailey's trying to do what they can, but Volto is going to get out of there and re-engages here. Sylveon Unite comes through. Potato just doing all that consistent damage. Meanwhile, you see Kramer just spamming through with these dive, weaving in and out of the fights here. Can they get a final knockout? Ninetales goes down, tries to get the Unite move off. Potato is going to secure that knockout. Meanwhile, Gatling Gulp Missile is going to be thrown, but the Cramorant goes down to the Phalanx as well. And you see Smog just content on fighting his Phalanx one-on-one. Giga Drain just healed up all the way back to full health for Smog's Venusaur. And Cinco Golemo just can't get in range of this Rayquaza to take it out because Galaxy there's just so much to stay in. You get so much damage from the Sylveon and Venusaur, and Phalanx goes down yet again.
Yeah, you do not have any damages to start the Rayquaza, so you need to wait, and Volto and Greg that did such a great job. Now it's all back to zero for Cinco Golemo, forced to do hard flip, but while they flip, the players from Galaxy will just take down the Cinco Golemo player. As you can see, only Greg now is alive. The Electro Ball came in a bit too early. Galaxy and one secures the ace, the Rayquaza, and the first game of this grand final. So unlucky for Cinco Golemo. What a great first team fight. It's really hard to team fight when you have Phalanx on your team, because Phalanx isn't really great on team fighting, but Volto did what he had to do, isolate targets, forcing 1v1s, especially against Lunder Cramorant, forcing its Unite move, getting the KO. Greg did such a wonderful job as well with its Mew, but if you lose one or two players with the kind of composition Cinco Golemo have, you do not have the damages to start the Rayquaza, and Galaxy N1 still have 2-3 players around the objective, contesting it, protecting it. So in this kind of situations where you're behind in terms of points, it's so hard because we saw Volto, the Swiss players, trying to score on the top path, trying to wait for his Eldegoss. They lost nearly 1 minute in late game during no more than 2 minutes. Yeah, it's too long. And then when you have a 5v4 starting and you're trying to hard flip, it's not winnable for Cinco Golemo. Galaxy N1, they got scared because that wasn't going very well, even though they trapped the Ware and it's her Eldegoss at first. I think they scared themselves, but it's alright for our favorites.
Yeah, and actually a lot of damage on the side of Cinco Golemo as well. Over 100k on that lone Ninetales and the Mew. But the problem is there's just too much sustain on the side of Galaxy, right? You got the Giga Drain from Venusaur looking even better into a Phalanx comp as well. And then you got the Blissey healing up. And Lunder's Cramorant, I was curious to see the damage. 95k damage on Lunder's Cramorant as well. I mean, I just saw that Cramorant just diving in and out of fights. And the thing is, and then you got the Gatling Gulp Missile as well. The problem is you have a Venusaur and Sylveon in your face the entire time. Crustle doing work as well, so the Kramer just gets kind of ignored, and you just dive in and out with the air slash damage, just chipping away at opponents. And just a really great game played from Galaxy. Arguably even a good draft to responding to that Phalanx pick with the Venusaur. They're not worried about the Phalanx at all in this situation. So really great stuff from Team Galaxy. We're going to see how they adjust to it, but I really like the team composition and also how the team plays. It seems like Potato really holding down that damage and carrying the team in the early game, and then once Smog evolves in that Venusaur, gets the level advantage, just carries the late game with so many of those fights, doing so much damage. Level 15 at the end of that as well. So going to be a tough one for Cinco Golemo going into the second game, but so far, they've been playing well into these games, getting a little bit called out in that Rayquaza fight, and maybe just having a slight team comp disadvantage as well in that late game. But they go with well, no, this is actually going to be Galaxy, I believe, on the left hand side now. They're going to ban the Leafeon to start things off in game number 2.
Exactly, we'll see how this draft came out. As you said, it can be decisive, even though I liked how Cinco Glemo counter draft the really interesting comp of Galaxy with the Ninetales, which worked, like did more than 100k damages. So yeah, I think Cinco Glemo, the draft did kinda okay last game, but as we said all the time, execution and the team fighting with full links, which is really hard. No Crossel for our friend Fize, which is a big Trevenant player, so triple defender. I think Galaxy needs to go for that Trevenant first solid pick to prevent Fize from playing it.
And we have a Galaxy with this first pick here. Do we first pick agreement? This is going to be pretty wild here. I don't even think you need to prioritize it. No, they're going to switch it up here into Trevenant the last second. So good play by them. And this final second to pick up the Trevenant. 2 evolutions going to be banned off right off the start. And Cinco Glemo trying to figure out how they play around this, right? Yeah. I mean, I feel like they had what they wanted from that last game in terms of their draft picks, but maybe just didn't carry them as far as they want to. Going with the Hoopa first pick and the Mew. I like 2 very strong, reliable picks on the side of Cinco Glemo.
Yeah, very versatile, works in lots of compositions, so really great in the beginning of a draft. 2 solid picks where it's a favorite Pokemon. Greg is also its favorite Pokemon, so yeah, best option here for me for Cinco Glemo. Potato sticking with the Sylveon, not its best Pokemon, not its signature Pokemon, but still did great game and we'll have a Sableye. Cinco Glemo was one of the team trying to play Sableye in the regionals. Didn't quite work, but they tried. And now Galaxy will try to take Cinco Glemo to their own game with the Sableye gaming.
I love it. Galaxy always just taking some risks in their picks and making it look good as well. I want to see a Tyranitar if they can make it happen in this potential final game, but that might not be the case. Sableye is a fun one as well. Lundra's been looking great on that Cramorant, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go back with the Cramorant. We could see Galaxy just flexing their picks here. We got Zoroark being picked up as well as a Dodrio, so double speedsters to round it out. This could be a pretty chaotic game with the Sableye with the double speedsters on the side of Galaxy. But do we see the Tyranitar pick up? Could it be it? The final game recently buffed Pokemon. Not quite.
No.
It's going to be the Metagross insteed. Metagross is still going to be a pretty interesting Pokemon, especially with that Compute and Crash. You could Compute and Crush, I should say. Could definitely lock down some of these speedsters if you get them in the right position. So a good response from Cinco Glemo as well. Probably a slightly safer pick than the Tyranitar. Tyranitar takes a while to get online, and if you lose that early game against Galaxy, it could be a long game for you.
Yeah, even though Metagross isn't the best Pokemon in the start of the game, but still better than the Tyranitar. As you said, Potato finally playing the Dodrio will leave the Sylveon to Lunder in a very aggressive comp. Metagross is okay. He will be targeted by the Dodrio, the Zoroark. He can use the Compute and Crash to trap them in its area, as you said. And he also has the ability, to reduce the crowd controls he get from the Trevenant, from the Dodrio as well. And Metagross is a Pokemon that likes to be surrounded by opponents. So with double speedsters jumping on him, it will be one target less for them because Potato and Nachos will be targeting that Hoopa, that Mr. Mime, which for me are going to be very vulnerable, especially with the Sableye. Only a little boosted auto attack from the Sableye could sign the KO for Hoopa, or Mr. Mime can go really quick with double speedsters.
Yeah, let's see if Internal's going to go for some invade strategy around, really be a menace into the side of Cinco Glemo's jungle side, because if you face a good Sableye player, that's going to be one of the most frustrating things to face here. We see game is actually going to be paused real quick as some might be just adjusting some logistics as we go on. So we're going to see how it happens. Maybe even disconnect happen, but we'll keep you all up to date on that one. But yeah, double speedster is going to be interesting here coming in for the side of Galaxy. What do you think about the draft picks from Galaxy? Because definitely a less conventional team.
Less conventional team trying to, I think there are players that tryharded the whole season of UCS, played picks they like, because Potato loves Dodrio, he plays a lot of Dodrio in the UCS as well, so they are not always playing some exotic picks, but as we can say with internal, these players, they tryharded all season, and now that we just reached off season, obviously they need to prepare for Worlds, but it's also nice to be able to pick some exotic composition, exotic kind of composition that could work, because you have the idea in the back of your head, like, should I play Sublife on this game? Could work, but in UCS you never try. And now today it's working. It's working at Sigo Golemo. That first exotic draft with triple attackers worked. Galaxy won the first game. Now it's up to them to prove they can win with whichever composition we give to them.
Yeah, we saw some interesting picks from them throughout today. So going to see if this double speedster comp will work in a second. And it looks like it was a player crash on the loading screen. So we're just going to wait for the player to get back into the game. But all the teams are set and ready to go shortly. So thank you all for being patient here. Meanwhile, we had the Metagross. First Metagross, I believe, on today's broadcast, so going to see how that plays out into this combination. But again, I do like that pick, especially in the double speedster comp. I think if you get that Unite move off in the right time, it could definitely lock down some of that mobility on the side of Galaxy.
And no invade from Rare. She needs to help its Metagross getting experience, because as we said, it's really weak in early game, and with Sableye you need to wait for the invade. So we stick with the Beldom, help him get the experience, and then where will help Volto and the Torchic. Potato and internal, great potential for invade, not at the moment. Potato that's still that rabbit from the Cinco Golemo side, and you see internal already trying to get the experience. He saw the rabbits provoke them and will be useful for that Zoroark coming in.
And we see Small coming in here on Zoroark, already evolved here. We got Matang on the side of Cinco Golemo here. So going to be a 3v3 skirmish. Can we get the Dojo evolved before this objective? No, not quite. They're going to probably look for this objective. If you get this Dojo evolved, it could be quite nice. But no, it's actually the Torchic that takes out the Doduo. Wow. So a big knockout for Volto, and that Torchic still trying to get into that Combusken. Small doing whatever they can, really damaging the side of Cinco Golemo. But in a essentially 1v3 there, is going to pull off and go back to that jungle farm as they set up. Combusken is going to evolve up, so is the Dojo on the side of Galaxy. And it looks like Small's going to go for a slight invade strat. They're going to try to take out this Matang, and Matang does go down to internal Sableye. And now this buff is mostly free reign if they can push this Hoopa off, and Hoopa is going to just let that go, where saying, you know what, I don't want to fight that. And it looks like Smog and this internal is going to be a huge annoyance for the side of Cinco Golemo, and the blue buff onto the side of the Sable as well, since you already had the blue buff on the side of Smog. And they get all the middle birds. Things are looking really good for Galaxy in the early game.
Yup, because Nachos has its power spike with his Zoroark, and Metang and the Torchic got the KOs on the first Altaria, so I think he got a bit vexed. He was like, okay, no, it's my power spike, no, it's my turn to do the job for my team, and as you saw, they all got the KOs into this top path. They even are able to, I was going to say they were going to be able to put the perfect overscore on the goal zone, but no, they just overscored with 1 point. The goal is to break the goal zone, because when you play against Koopa, you want those first goal zones to be destroyed, even though we're playing Trick, Phantom Force, and now they are going to, I think, play both golems for Galaxy, putting back the Cinco Golemo, and I don't think they will let the Registeel escape.
No, not quite. And it looks like Smog is going to try to rip down this Reggie Steel and going to go down super quickly for the side of Galaxy. Huge levels of advantage already, and Smog does not stop there, getting 40 points off on this bottom tier goal zone. Meanwhile, I see Cinco Galemo trying to rip this Regieleki as fast as they can. Volto is going to secure the Regieleki for the side of Cinco Galemo. They're going to try to push their advantage. Can they get the Dodrio? No, Potato does get out there in time. Reinforcements are starting to come in as well. Dojo does go down though to the Matang, so definitely going to be a good pickup here. But it looks like the Blaziken is going to go down to Lunder's Sylveon as well at this point in time. Even though they got the Regieleki, points are still on the side of Galaxy.
Great job by Ware protecting her carries into a great catch by Galaxy. We saw the power of the Sableye boosted auto, but nice defending from the Cinco Golemo. Still fighting on that central area. There's no objectives, nothing to play, so we should just get into the goal zone, play that bottom Altarias, play the 1v1 on top lane. We saw that Metagross solo uniting the Dodrio, getting the KO. This is interesting because N is going to gain some stacks from it, and the Cinco Golemo are always pushing on that bottom path, and it's working. Volto, another great KO. Are they turning the game from this point, Caleb?
Yeah, that was a huge KO on the side of Cinco Galemo and Volto. Taking out that Zoroark is going to be a lot of catch-up experience. They're still behind on a little bit of experience on Cinco Galemo, but they have some fighting chance, especially if they're able to take out that Zoroark. Meanwhile, you see Potato and that Dojo being a menace, trying to steal some of those buffs. Looks like the buffs are going to go over to the side of N and that Metagross. And we are setting up for a big fight here in this bottom Reggie. A lot of damage though from Lunder, just consistently poking out the enemy players. Meanwhile, Soul Beam is going to be responded from the side of Mew. Positioning is looking pretty good for Cinco Galemo. They're going to try to steal this Regice if they can. Metagross is going to go in here, and the Trevenant Unite comes through. Mystical Mirage comes out as well. You see so much damage from Lumber just poking down, but it looks like it's going to be the Blaziken that secures the Regice, and Compute and Crush is going to lock down the Zoroark as well. Trevenant goes down, and now things are turning around for Cinco Galemo. They're trying to support, but here comes the Dojo Unite move. Potato trying to do what they can, but goes down instantly to the Mew as well. Cinco Galemo finding knockouts wherever they can, and they are going to actually be porting up to the top side. Hoopa Unbound coming through, and I don't think Smog can get out of this one either. 1v4, not going to be able to do it. Things are really turning around for Cinco Galemo in the past minute.
Wow, this is what we want to see from Cinco Galemo, accelerating the game, using that Metagross against the Speedsters. It's working so good, you saw, with that bottom Reggie, and now they are still putting pressure, getting important KOs. Volto with its Blaziken also has a great game to play, double all-rounders against the Speedsters. It works, and Cinco Galemo needs to take advantage of it. They are still 100 points behind, so they need to find another opportunity to get back, because it was a big timing for them. Maybe catching that Trevenant. No, the Trevenant from Gek will just get back safely. But you see Cinco Galemo, they are being aggressive. They want to score into that first goal zone, and I think they will try in a timing for the Unite moves.
Yeah, this is going to be a 5v4 here. The Zoroark Smog goes down yet again. Compute and Crush is going to lock down that Zoroark. It has nowhere to go. Damage is going to come through. Trevenant goes down. Potato is here with the Dojo, but it goes down to Volto's Blaziken as well. All 5 members still up. Volto finally goes down to Lunder's Sylveon, but can they get the points off? Cinco Galemo needs these points. That's the only thing they're down by. Everything else, they're decently matched on levels as well. They can obviously win the fights.
Wow.
Small goes down yet again, just respawn and goes down again. And here we have Mew picking up 2 knockouts on the side of Mew, and Greg piloting that Mew to perfection here. Gek trying to slow down the scores, but I don't know if you can. Not getting a ton of scores, still behind by a little bit over 100 points, but Reggie Rock is here, and we see that the side of Cinco Galemo has excellent position here. Galaxy content on just letting this go and setting up for this Rayquaza, but things have really turned around from Cinco Galemo in that mid game to now. Metagross, level 14, highest level Pokemon on the map so far and in the game, and it's going to be pretty crucial for this team fight.
I am amazed by how Ant Metagross is playing with the trick Upa, always using the portals from its Upa at the good timing. And now Cinco Golemo, they have the levels. They didn't farm for quite a while because they were pushing on that first gold zone, but the KOs they got put Volto level 14 and as well, so they have something to play. Cinco Golemo in the team fight coming. We saw Dodrio and with Potato in the back lane. Careful about the bird.
And Tremor Unite going to go through. Zork going to take out Greg, and that Mew Mime goes down as well. Compute and Crush is going to lock in the Sableye. Sableye goes down, but do you need to take out Sableye? The Zork is the biggest problem here, and Zork is still very healthy. Going to come in for this Rayquaza. Can Smog pull this out or not? Dashing through here, trying to secure something, but this N and Metagross is just too hard to get through. Still full health, locking down the Zork as well. They need this Rayquaza. They are down over 100 points so far, but the team of Galaxy keeps piling in. The Potato and the Sylveon just constantly doing damage. Or actually, no, that's Lumber Sylveon, but Lunder is going to go down to N as well. And you see Gek trying to hold it down for the side of Galaxy, but only the Trevenant and the Sableye remaining. We see Sableye going for the back cap here. I like this play, realizing that they're not going to win this Rayquaza fight. Going to get the points they can to at least put their team up a little further ahead as these points are coming through. Gek trying to get 64 points off, is going to get it. Are the point totals going to be enough? Is the question. Yes, 561 to 467. There's only 10 seconds left in this game. It looks like Cinco Golemo is going to force a game number 3 in this grand finals against Galaxy.
Yep, game number 3 secured by Cinco Golemo. At last in this broadcast we will have a game 3 and the best of moments in the grand final. The favorites are down to a decisive game coming in a few minutes. What a game 2 by Cinco Golemo. What a late team fight, as we said. The two all-rounders level 13. Thanks to the great pushes, thanks to the shutdowns taken, thanks as well to all the objectives into the game, because Galaxy only got 1 Registeel, as you saw, 2 Regieleki, 1 Regice, 1 Regirock for Cinco Golemo, lots of experience, and as we saw, Dodrio, which is Potato. Potato is a huge Dodrio player, is inside with the pick, but it's not working against a double all-rounder composition with Mr. Mime in it, and as well Nachos and Zoro are completely lost in this late game, never able to find any great play to make the difference for its team. That means Cinco Golemo wants game 2, and it's a deserved game 3 they earned.
Yeah, what a great fight they put up. I mean, and in that Metagross was such a good pick, especially that their final pick of that draft, right, to really lock down those speedsters. And just in that final fight, it just looked like N wouldn't go down. Compute and Crush was only really locked onto Sableye, and even then, they still got a ton of value, right? And just constantly taking out the members of Galaxy. They just couldn't do anything against that Metagross in that late game. So, really smart draft from them. Let's see how Galaxy responds as game number 3, but this is single elimination, best of 3. That's it. There's no bracket reset. So this is everything's going to be on the line for this final game. Loser will go home and winner will qualify for the later finals for this month of the Elite Tour and get themselves a spot there for that EU slot. So a lot to fight for on the line here, and I'm excited to see this, right? I mean, we've been seeing a lot of 2-0s throughout the day, but it finally got to be a close one, and what a great matchup there against Galaxy as well. Cinco Golemo is going to take a game off of them. First game that Galaxy has lost all day, and you know, they're starting to sweat a little bit after that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, and sorry Draiku, we are the lucky ones. We are the ones casting the game 3 today. Sorry to our friend. I'm so excited because everything can happen in a best of 1 game, because this is what it is. It's a best of 1, the game 3s. You always have the information from game 1, from game 2, but in the mindset, it's a best of 1 for a qualification to the main event happening on the 25th of May. So big stakes at play. The Cinco Golemo, the outsiders, which still are a pretty convincing team, if that's the word in Europe, getting some top 8, only missing the top 8 once during this season, and experienced Galaxy players, some of them going into Worlds, into Hawaii. Can Cinco Golemo make it take down the world competing team, world competing players from Galaxy N1? Let's see in that last draft of the day, Caleb.
All right, don't count out Single Galemo just yet. And here we go. They are going to be on that left-hand side. They banned the Umbreon and the Crustle. We get the Leafeon and Trevenant ban from the side of Galaxy. So similar bans, I think, to one of the previous drafts here. No Leafeon in this final game. So I'm probably going to go with a safer pick to start things off for Single Galemo. Let's see what they go with here. Just swapping through a lot of these. And they go with the Hoopa. Very strong, solid pick, giving a lot of position. And Hoopa honestly played really well for the side of Single Galemo, where on that Hoopa in the first game, getting so much great positioning, especially that mid to late game.
Yep, and playing Trick all the time. When the spell got buffed, she was the first to say, let's go, Patrick is back, and she is showing it. Oh, double attacker pick on the first choice for Galaxy isn't very common, and we have the formation. Sylveon Mew, you cannot play great front lane because the Hyper Voice is going to shred your special defense. Lunder on Mew is a big specialist, and yeah, no Cramorant, no. It's Mew from Lunder. It's his signature pick. So we'll see. Oh, Fizzy can make the difference with the Grident. Wow, Cinco Golemo, champagne.
Wow. Okay, I love it. Going all out in this game number 2. Even the Inteleon pick too was a very staple meta pick for a while, but got a series of nerfs that made it less meta relevant. But Single Galemo bringing it out in game number 3 here. We got the Eldegoss and the Slowbro on the side of Galaxy. Still fairly safe picks from Galaxy. I'm very curious to see how they pick out this final pick. Probably going to be the final pick is going to be for Smog in this final one. We see Voltos, Blaziken did a lot of work in that first game. Do we see again? Oh, Aegislash would be huge for this one.
Wow.
And it's going to be Aegislash as well for Single Galemo. So a little bit blast from the past. Let's see what they can do with this Aegislash, because in the right position it could be good, but we're going to see if it put out the damage or not. Smog's going to have their free reign of picking the counter pick, the final pick of the draft here, and it's going to be the Dragonite to secure the Hyper Beam, ready for that Dragonite to secure all these objectives. A pretty safe draft, I think, for Galaxy overall, whereas Single Galemo going all out and picking some pretty wild picks here in the final game.
Yeah, and I like that. Yeah, you know, Galaxy being stressed, being pushed into game 3, they're like, okay, we need to try hard. And Single Galemo, they're like, yeah, it's game 3, but we don't care. You are trying Sableye, we are going to try Grident. So Single Galemo playing for the show. I like it. I like it a lot. I'll be honest. The D-Knight pick, I thought Nachos was going for a speedster, even though there's still that double all-rounder comp. It's an Aegislash. It's not the carriest of the all-rounders, more tanky, and I think with Grident you do not, and Upa, you don't have any peeling for the Inteleon. So yeah, for me there was a space for the Rock in this draft, or the speedster. We tried Dragonite. D-Knight can also put pressure on the Inteleon, especially with the Unite move. So we'll see how this works out. Obviously, you have the Grident factor in this draft, so you can really give an advantage to the team. It will all depend on that Grident's game, because, yeah, it's not the most strong of the Pokemon. Depends on how Fizzy plays it and how will we be able to manage, especially the early game, to prevent any snowball effect from the Galaxy.
That's right. We're going to see how this one goes. Haven't seen Aegislash in the game in a hot second, but it is going to be starting off in the jungle for Cinco Galemo here. Sabo in this bottom lane with the Greedent is going to make a lot of sense. We've got Lunder and Slowpoke on this bottom lane here. I think Smog is going to be in that middle area with that Dratini. Definitely going to need the levels just like this Aegislash will for this game. So we're going to see how this one goes. But interesting back and forth. Not as much early game pressure on either side, really. You know, we see a lot of split jungles from the first few games, but both the Aegis Slash and the Dratini need a lot of farm here. So they're going to just farm up slowly as they rotate probably top side for this first set of birds.
Yeah, but the Dragonair will be stronger than the Dao Blade for that first gank into the Altarias. Level 5 for Nachos, given by the XP share from internal. And then we will focus the top path for the two central area players. Fize trying to get some points. Already level 4. Great early game by Fize. And now the first Altaria being contested. As I said, Dragonair should have the advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Just going through some Sacred Sword, trying to secure what they can, and you can see, and trying to do what they can here, doing quite a bit of damage. As you can see, Sacred Sword is going to secure the Eldegoss, and can you get the Dragonair as well? And it does. 2 knockouts already for the side of Cinco Golemo, and ends Honedge as well, and and then get a third one. No, not quite yet. And just gets out of there with a Sacred Sword. They're still chasing down Endo on this Aegis Slash, and wow, great early game so far for the side of Cinco Golemo. They're going to definitely benefit from this, especially if you can slow down the Dragonair. Oh, going back in with the Sacred Sword, almost evolved to the Aegis Slash, but goes down to the Potato Sylveon, and that's actually going to be huge for Potato and Galaxy because now they have the jungle buffs as well. And meanwhile, you got the Combustion actually grabbing some of the buffs from Cinco Golemo's jungle too. So trying to get that Blaziken evolved up as well. A lot of fights going on this bottom side. Smog is going to try to help this team, but Greedent just doing Greedent things, just disrupting a lot of the pressure from Galaxy.
Belge Greedent, we heard Gatliu, one of the experts from the Greedent, saying that Bullet Seed was pretty nice, and he played Bullet Seed on that regional finals a few days ago. We'll see how that works out for that Belge Greedent, while N gave a shutdown in the top path to the Galaxy players. Can he make amend? Can he turn the tables? Can he get a KO? No. The XP just to get out, and we leave the experience to the Galaxy players. We have a big Dragonite coming into the bottom path. Italian not level 9 yet. And we don't have any Unite move for the Cinco Golemo. Not at all. Let's see what this Mew is. No Unite move as well for the Mew. And we have a Regirock to play while the Cinco Golemo take the advantage on the top path.
And it looks like this Dragonite is going to secure the Regirock, no problem for the side of Galaxy. And they are going to continue to take out some of the Pokemon. Greedent goes down as well. 4 members on the side of Galaxy going to push their advantage, taking advantage of the numbers they have here. Recognizing Cinco Golemo saw 2 members on the top side contesting against Potato and the Sylveon. Potato doing a great job of defending against the onslaught of that Aegis Slash, and I think it was Koopa up there. I'm not sure, but someone else was on the side of Cinco Golemo, also pushing that top hat. Meanwhile, Smog going to secure another objective, and that's really the power of Dragonite here too. A slight overdunk of 9 points on the side of Cinco Golemo, scoring against Galaxy Goal Zone. But Regieleki does go in, pretty open goal zone here. Maybe Dragonite's going to try to score the 23 points. Ejects through. Aegislash going to try to take out the Eldegoss. Is going to. Oh, wow. And they take out Smog with the Inteleon. That's huge. A huge pickup to a lot more experience going over to the side of Cinco Golemo. And the levels are starting to even out quite a bit. But 100-point advantage for Galaxy.
And the Mew finally being taken down by the Cinco Golemo. What a counterplay from them, because during this time the Blaziken was invading, he got punished, but the Greedent was also invading and didn't get punished. He kept its Unite move, using it to put pressure on that first goal zone, Caleb.
Yeah, and here we go. Slowbro goes down to N, and that Aegis Slash healing back up with that Wild Guard is going to go off the pad a little bit here too. I think a pretty strong defense from Galaxy. Huge Hyper Beam, but it's actually going to be the Mew that secures the Greedent, and Draco Impact is going to come through as Smog is going to try to secure someone else on the KO, but not quite able to. They're going to set up 5 members all ready for this bottom Reggie. It's going to be a Registeel, a huge Reggie for the side of Galaxy. And the secure action from the Blaziken right before the Hyper Beam came out. Huge secure on the side of Bolto and that Blaziken. Yes, way too fast for that Dragonite. Dragonite does have to charge up quite a bit for that Hyper Beam. Meanwhile, you see N trying to grab some of the farm from the Sylveon, and N's going to have to run here though, because a lot of the members from Galaxy are going to collapse on N pretty shortly. Let's see how they play out around this one. Regieleki is going to come through at this point too. Aegislash has a lot to say with that wide guard, but I mean, Galaxy, they're just going for every objective. They're just going to try to rip it on Spawn. Can they secure? Coup de Grace does take the Regieleki as well. A huge back-to-back secures on these objectives. Potato Sylveon goes down. Smog's Dragonite goes down as well. And now they're pushing down on tier 2. Is this going to be a mistake or not, as the Pokemon on the side of Galaxy are starting to respawn here? Mystical Mirage is going to try to defend against this Regieleki. I think Single Golemo is going to be content on what they have and going to run out of there.
Yeah, it's dangerous. You shouldn't push here. What a play from Cinco Golemo. Oh my god, that Golem that was bursted by a Galaxy and one too fast for the Dragonite. The Blaziken is able to steal it and never doubt the Aegislash, because he's the one that can steal the objectives, even though it was nerfed patches and patches ago. The Unite move onto the objectives, but still really strong to secure them. And now they can put pressure on Cinco Golemo. They must not stop. They gained an advantage. They need to put some pressure. As we can see, the Aegislash was able to score 47 points on the top half, and the third goal zone is open. There will be another Regieleki, I guess, to push into that third goal zone. It's very dangerous for our favorites Galaxy. They need that bottom Golem to, you know, get some experience back, because the Mew is only level 11. Lunder, a big Mew player, only level 11, needs experience, needs the Regirock. Regirock pretty big in the of Galaxy, because on Dragonite with the multi-scale talent and the Slowbro, the Regirock is boosting a lot the defensive stats with the aggression and the burst damages from the Inteleon. This is something you need. Are they going to win the Gradient game, Caleb? We'll see in 2 minutes who is going to qualify for the main event, and it might start very fast, because as you can see, the Gradient is already taking so much pressure, but he's playing with the portal of the Upa, taking some time, while the Mew is searching for his level 13. The Cinco Golemo are in place. This is them for once that are on the lead, and they still are being aggressive, Caleb.
Yeah, and the level advantage is actually on the side of Single Golemo, getting the point advantage too after that tier 2 gold zone cap from N. So they are looking in the commanding position at this point too. Fizzy and this Greedent just doing Greedent things, trying to disrupt this Dragonite as much as possible. And here they come, but the Unite move from Slowbro is going to stop N in their tracks here. Mystical Mirage is going to come through to take out the Volto's Blaziken. So first Pokemon to go down on the side of Single Golemo, and for both teams, Hoopa and Bound for is coming through, but has to eject out of danger as well. Greg has a lot of full health still, so is N and Fizzy's Greedent, so they still have a lot more play. Blaziken is almost up soon in 5 seconds. We get the reset from Hoopa, but it looks like Galaxy recognizing that they have the numbers advantage. They're going to try to burst it down. Can they get through though? And here comes the coup de grace, doing quite a bit of damage, and it's going to be Aegislash actually going down here as well. Greedent goes down as well. Bolto and the Blaziken is here. Bolto has to do a lot of work here. Dragonite goes down. Sylveon goes down as well. That's a lot of the damage is securing power from the side of Single Golemo. 4 knockouts from Eldegoss. What's going on right now? And we have the Mew trying to get out of here. But it's going to be Bolto's Blaziken doing work. And Internal putting the team on their back. 4 knockouts, 100 points as well with 30 seconds ago, matched by 36 from Bolto. So now points are ahead, just barely 12 points for Single Golemo. Does Galaxy recognize this? They need to score more points here. Another 14 points going through for Bolto's Blaziken. Galaxy needs some final points here. They don't have time for this Rayquaza. You need to just get to this tier 2 gold zone as fast as you can, but it's going to be Fizzy scoring another huge chunk of points here for the side of Single Golemo. Final points are coming up. 38 points from the Dragonite. Not enough, and we got an upset. We got Single Golemo with a huge upset in the finals against Galaxy N1 to take it all the way. What a crazy final few minutes of the game. Eternal got a quad knockout in the final seconds on an Eldegoss. I don't even know what was happening in that fight.
Yep, the last hit from the Eldegoss. Obviously, he was not the one dealing all the damages. His teammate helped, but the last hit, the 4 KOs, and the Gradient game win in the decisive game 3. Cinco Golemo, they wanted to play to, go along with the show, and they did well. They are the winner of the first EU qualifier, and they qualified for our Elite Tour main event. What a late game from them, and what a game as well, because they did put Lunder quite behind in terms of experience, and that shows. And in that second team fight, there was 2 Unite move in both sides, and Galaxy had the great science of teamfight, because Cinco Golemo, they decided to put the focus onto the Sylveon, which got hit by the Inteleon snipe shot, so he was low on HPs. They decided to put pressure on him on the Sylveon, but the Sylveon did have the Unite move, gained some seconds. Cinco Golemo, they had to put their focus on another Pokemon, and meanwhile, Galaxy N1, they got the right focus, they took down the right Pokemon, they won the team fight, but Volto did a heroic comeback with its Blaziken, where managed to stay alive with her Hoopa to help him to do so. And then we have the scoring in the crazy late game, as you said, Caleb. Woo! Draku, it must have been good to watch as a spectator point of view, this game.
Man, I had myself muted during that time, but I was literally standing up, just watching, just biting my fingernails. What a game to end on. And boy, tale as old as time itself. A David and Goliath story stays canon. Cinco Golemo taking down the Goliaths in Galaxy N1. They are going to be our first qualifying team from the European region, moving on to the main event at the end of the month. And my goodness, we are in the off season, but it feels like the UCS season is still well on its way with the competitive prowess these teams are bringing to our Unite Battle Hub event. And well, we still got a couple of more events. Actually, we are going to be going pretty strongly throughout this month, even though we have 2 months before Worlds. We do have lots of events here in May, June, and July leading up to Worlds in August. Again, we got 2 more qualifiers. We have our last chance qualifiers, and then of course our main event, $500 at the end of the month. And if this is a tell of how these qualifiers are going to go, you're not going to want to miss any of these. Final thoughts from our gentlemen casters today. Fantastic job. We'll start off with Caleb and then with Caleb. Final thoughts.
Yeah, what incredible games too, especially in that final series. It's something I really noticed too, is the teams that usually were willing to take the risk, right? Run these weird team compositions were able to be the ones that came out on top. We got a Greedon in game number 3. So much disruption. Aegislash as well that I haven't seen on the competitive stage in a hot second in a lot of these tournaments, and just doing so much work. You saw Galaxy try to play safe there, but safety was not on their side in that game. And again, the upsets as well. Best of 3, single elimination bracket. Anything could happen, including upsets. I'm very excited to see what other teams can make it through the qualifiers as well as we head into the main stage.
Yeah, it's the thing about uniqueness, right? You play so safe and conservative with the high meta picks throughout the entire tournament, and all of a sudden you throw a wrench like a Greedon in the machine, and all of a sudden the machine gets all wound up, and that's really what we saw here. And we also saw in the regional files for EU as well. But Pump, last thoughts from you before we say goodbye.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see Cinco Golemo win today. And yeah, there's a small mistake in the overlay. It's Cinco Golemo that won the best of 3. So happy for them. They stepped up. I know they were disappointed with the season, with the regionals. Despite getting the top 8, they didn't get the top 8 into the regionals, which was their objective. And today, against world competing players, they showed a great level of playing. That Trikupa worked very well. And you might saw that I was looking at my right screen here. It's because I was messaging the Cinco Golemo players, taking their their feedbacks, and they are so happy. They are really happy about this win. It means a lot for them. So yeah, I'm happy for them. It's a well-deserved win today.
That is going to be the end of our broadcast for today's qualifiers. We have 2 more qualifiers next week, both on Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday will be for North America. Thursday will be for Europe once again, our last chance qualifiers after that. But if you want to stay up to date on all of the events, do make sure you join our new player lounge. Follow us on all of the socials. And one last shout out, because it is a very important achievement. Pump, you are going to be achieving your 100th de pump, I believe we talked about in the back room. So congratulations to you. If you're from the European region, of course, make sure you show some love to Pump and his events that he's going to be hosting at the end of the season. Caleb, I'm sure I'm going to see you most likely at Worlds. I'm excited to see you either cast at NAIC or even play at NAIC. But that is going to be the last from us. Farewell, everybody. Have a good rest of your day, and we will see you on the next qualifying event.